Is this thing on? I see my voice. All right. So, Space Time Smackdown. All the cards are out there. I'm going to be doing a live. I'm not going to call it a first look. I already glanced over them at work. I didn't take a super good look at all of them. Um, but I'm going to be taking a look at each card in question, all the new cards, and we're going to be kind of evaluating them, giving some first impressions. It's going to be kind of funny in like half a year's time, looking back at this video for me and seeing which cards I thought were going to be strong that are weak and which cards I thought are going to be weak that are going to be strong. And we'll go ahead and take a look at all of them, and then at the end I'll give some impressions about the overall direction that the game is going, and it'll be a fun little experience. If you're someone who wants to wait until you get the cards in packs or something like that, you should make that call for yourself right now, and I'm very sorry for showing you this oddish. But, you will be spoiled on every card if you watch this video. Oddish. We already have an Oddish somewhere in the game. I don't remember what it does. This one appears to be Petalil, but an Oddish. We got a little bit of HP, and we got a little bit of damage. Not a super impressive card. 10 HP is not a lot to recover. 10 damage is not a lot to deal. This is one of the... I'd rather just have 20 damage. This is not an impressive basic. I gotta remember to look at the retreat cost on all these and also the weaknesses, because some of those might surprise me. But this is a very unimpressive basic. It's just kind of here. It's funny that the very first card we look at, I have almost nothing to say, but a lot of the basics are going to be like that because TCG Pocket, if it's an evolving Pokemon, the basics are typically not terribly interesting or good. I do like the card art a lot. It's a funny looking Oddish, can't say, let's take a look at... I'm going to be going back to that screen a lot whenever I transition between cards because I didn't want to open like 100 tabs, 200 tabs. We got a new Gloom. We did already have a Gloom. I think our other one required 2 energies. This one only required 1. I've noticed there's a lot of cards that are evolved Pokemon that only need 1 energy. And that's a really good direction for the game to be going in because it means it makes first turn a lot better. First turn and second turn are theoretically balanced against each other. Second turn gets first energy and first turn gets first evolution. But there were very few cards that actually benefited from first evolution. There was like Executor EX. There was, technically Magikarp evolving as fast as possible was quite useful. Let me think, Pidgeotto. I don't know. There weren't that many cards where it was just 1 energy. Rapidash with Blaine especially. 1 energy to do decent damage that were evolved. Most evolved Pokemon required 2 or 3 energies. So we got an evolved Pokemon here that only requires 1, which is nice. Retreat cost 2 is pretty lame. 80 HP is quite good. Weakness to fire is standard for a grass type. Nothing much to say here. I like that it's using Razor Leaf. I think it does use that in the games. Rather than a Vileplume, we actually have a Blossom. That's an alternate evolution for Gloom for people who played Pokemon. You could theoretically run, 2 Oddish, 2 Gloom, 2 Vileplume, and 2 Blossom in the same deck. 130 HP is quite good. There are a lot of Stage 2s that have HP numbers like that. Very nice with Erica, I would say, being able to heal this guy. 2 energies for 80 damage is not incredible, but not bad. This is probably a card that I don't see anyone using, but it's not a horrible card. But there's already like stage 1s that can do 70 damage for 2 energies, so like having... This is nice because it has more HP than them, but it's kind of a longer process to get here. But again, we have 2 energies on a stage 2, which means that you can evolve and attach your first energy onto a Gloom and attack, and then you can evolve the next turn and attach your second energy and attack. So this is a Mon that benefits from going first, and we're going to be seeing more of those. 1 retreat cost is quite good. This is basically like a really beefy version of like a basic. There's no bells and whistles on this Mon. It's just got nice numbers. Doesn't look too impressive to me, but it is cute anyway. Tangela. Our other Tangela, I think, was just better than this one, wasn't it? I called that one of the worst cards in the game, but this one looks even worse than that one. The other one is 40 damage plus 10 healing, I think, for 2 energies. And this is just 30 damage. So what's going on there? I gotta double check. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe the other one has like a retreat cost of 2 or something like that. 70 HP. Were they both 70 HP? Maybe the other one had less HP. I think the other one had 70. Okay, so this card doesn't impress me too much. This is, it just exists to get Tangrowth onto the field. In the cards I called mediocre, I called the other Tangela mediocre. and I said that Tangrowth would save it, but Tangrowth was a low priority for the devs, I figured. But it turns out they actually did add Tangrowth immediately after I said that, so a little bit of egg on my face. That's a lot of energy. The HP is good. The damage is good. The healing effect is quite nice, especially with the high HP. Like Erica plus using Mega Drain, that's a lot of health to get back. Uh, Tangela requiring 2, and this requiring 4, those are big jumps. I don't see people using this outside of using it with Snivy. If you do use it with Snivy, it looks pretty good. I mean, this is basically Delmise, but way better, right? Um, it has to evolve, so that's annoying. But Delmise is doing 20 with 1 energy attachment, and 90 damage for 2 energy attachments once your Snivy is done. And this is doing 30 for 1 energy attachment and 90 for 2. And you also have more health, and you also have a healing effect. The downside is you've got to actually evolve, and also Delmise can actually do something before your Snivy is fully evolved. And this still can, but it's just a much, much slower process. Like this, not being able to attack with 1 energy is a big downside over Delmise. But I would say this is usable on a Snivy deck. This looks quite decent. Yanma um, could technically be used on any deck. 50 HP is not great. 20 damage is okay. 1 energy to retreat is okay. Electric weakness is kind of interesting. That's something you would expect on a flying type, so I guess they're kind of putting the flying type in the forefront here. And then we have Yanmega EX. Yanma just exists to kind of lead into Yanmega. This also works in any deck. Very interesting to have grass coverage. What does that hit? Rock types and ground types? Anything else right now? I don't think so. There are some dark types. I think some new ones included that are weak to grass, and that's to represent the bug typing. So this will hit some rock and dark. I mean, some rock and ground types and some dark types, I suppose. So you could run it in other decks for coverage. 120 is a very nice threshold to hit. Actually, while I say that, I should be looking at the HP values of EX cards because it was nice being able to hit 120 or 130 with Giovanni before, but maybe that's not an important threshold anymore. Or like there'll be like I don't know new things to consider. Like this doesn't, it won't be able to one hit KO itself, you know, which also makes it safer against Mew EX, which is nice. It's kind of funny reading random energy from this card, but it's just specifying. You know, you could use this card in like a multi-type deck, and it doesn't want you to have to choose which energy it's discarding. It wants it to be random. But I think most people are probably going to be using this in single type decks, but they won't necessarily be using it in grass decks. It's kind of cool that you can use it like that, though. For an EX card, it's quite good. I would say this is workable. There's probably some particular elements that are going to really appreciate this. I don't think grass is one of them. Maybe, because Snivy does work with this. Actually, just looking at it, you know, Snivy being able to activate it in 2 turns is kind of nice, the Snivy line. And then just hitting 120 over and over. That's probably going to be better than Celebi until your Celebi has an ass ton of energy stuck on it. And it evolves pretty quickly. You know, Celebi's a basic, so that's nice. But, you know, this is only a stage 1. That's not too bad. A little bit more HP than Celebi, which is, you know, welcome. And then only a treat cost of 1 is pretty nice. Weakness to Electric, I don't know if that's a big deal yet. This looks like a pretty good card to me. This is like the level that I would this is worthy of the EX in its name. This is worthy of being a 2-prize knockout. Roselia? So we're just skipping Badu, huh? 70 HP, 20 damage. That's a pretty good basic as they go. Weakness to Fire is bog standard. Retreat cost of 1 is bog standard. I've got nothing to say about this. It all depends on Roserade. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. That's good. I mean, I think there's other cards that basically do exactly this, but 50 damage with the poison is quite strong. Is there anything else that does 50 damage with poison? I think there is, but I can't think of what. I can think of a lot of things with like 30 damage plus poison. Like, Venipede. No, the middle one. Whirlipede? Technically, Wheezing. Stuff like that. Salazzle. I think I looked through the whole set, and there wasn't anything with Venoshock to get bonus damage on poison. I was kind of sad that we didn't get new Venoshock options, but whatever. Pretty decent looking card. 100 HP, 2 retreat cost is kind of bad. Only 2 energy to attack is decent. I can see this being used in, like, I don't know, Venoshock decks I was going to say, but I'm not even really sure about that. Maybe I don't see this thing being used that much. It depends. We'll have to see. Dirtwig, it bites. Little bitey Turtwig. 80 HP is amazing for a basic. A lot of Bulbasaur, I think, and Snivy both had 70. And we keep on needing 2 energy to attack with all our grass starters, which is kind of lame. True retreat cost is pretty bad, actually. I do not like that. That's a downgrade over like Snivy. 30 damage for 2 energies is not horrible. If it was 40, that'd be even better. But I'm not gonna complain. I don't like basics like this. I'd rather something with 1 energy for 20 damage, honestly. Even though this is better after the second turn, you basically have it to evolve it. Girdle, 60 damage for 3 energies. Not amazing, not horrible. 3 retreat cost is really horrible. 100 HP is workable. What are we going to? What are we going to? Torterra, 160 health, very decent for a non-EX card. Frenzy Plant. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Frenzy Plant. For those who don't know, Frenzy Plant is the grass version of Hyper Beam, so that is actually a 100% canon effect right there. That's actually how it works in the video game too. 150 damage is really good. That's gonna one hit KO most Pokemon. This one hit KOs itself with Giovanni. 4 retreat cost is catastrophic. I can see this mon being okay. The problem is the idea, like you attack with Frenzy Plant, and then the next turn you can't attack, so you just sit there like a dummy. You would be tempted to attack with Frenzy Plant, and then the next turn retreat because you can't attack, and then attack with something else instead. But the problem is it's going to take all 4 of your energies to use Frenzy Plant, and then all 4 of your energies to retreat. So it's almost not even like you're denying the opponent the point, but like this mon is back to not being set up at all. That's pretty horrible. Again, synergy with Snivy, but I do not like decks that rely on 2 different stage 2 mons. I find that to be kind of difficult in practice. Torterra looks pretty cool there. There will probably definitely be people who are going to try and do Snivy plus Torterra. It doesn't look great. I feel like with that kind of energy cost, you should just let it do 150 damage. Fuck it. Like, it's a stage 2 mon. It should be pretty good. I don't know. I'm not super impressed by this. This card doesn't strike me as all that good. Where are we at? Kricketot, Bug Bite, 20 damage. This is the standard basic Pokemon in TCG Pocket. This is what they all look like. This could be anything. Like, there's other cards that are literally exactly this. There's nothing to discuss here. Kricketot is cute. Look at it. It's walking on a log. I don't know. That's good. Good log. Cricketoon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. We've got a new appearance of a status ailment here. There were no cards in Mythical Island. There were no cards in Genetic Apex that caused confusion. In the TCG tabletop version, I think confusion... If you attack, you had to flip, and if you flip tails, you hit yourself for, I think, 20 or 30. I don't remember how much. And your attack didn't go off. It didn't happen. So that is insanely disruptive. It's like a better version of... paralysis, or a better version of not sleep, I guess. Having your mon not even be able to do anything, and then also hurting yourself half the time. It also, you had to flip in order to be able to retreat. Retreating does cure it, I think, in the tabletop. But if you flip tails on your retreat attempt, you cannot retreat. But you don't discard energy for attempting it, I think. I think you only discard if it works. But you can flip to try and retreat, and then you can flip again to try and attack. It doesn't consume. It doesn't deny you from trying to attack if you fail to retreat, I think. I'm not happy to see confusion in TCG Pocket. I do not like confusion. I'm especially not happy to see that this is causing confusion at a guaranteed rate. I think confusion also doesn't go away. You're just confused until you're dead, or until you switch out, or until you evolve. Or I guess now until you use a Lumberry. That's not great, Like, at least with sleep or with paralysis, it goes away after a little bit. The confusion is just haunting you. So this card I can see as being very obnoxious. That being said, 90 HP is not great, 50 damage is not great, so you're mostly relying on confusion being extremely disruptive. Otherwise, this card is just okay. It's just not a great card. It's not like a win con or anything like that. But I do see it having some nice disruptive effects in the early game. This is a maybe right here, this card. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Burmy. I've noticed there's actually... I don't know if all 3 Wormadimes are in the game. I think they are. There's this Burmy. This Burmy is pretty bad. It's only doing 10 damage instead of 20. Oops, ouch. The evolutions are different types, which actually matches with the game Wormadams. Um, so this Burmy has a colorless energy attached for its attack. So you could, I think one of them is metal type and the other one's fighting type or something like that, and the other one's grass type. So you would run the Burmy and the Trash Cloak Wormadam in a metal deck or something like that. Uh, this Burmy works in any of the decks you're trying to use it with, basically. I wish it was a little stronger though. I wish it was doing 20 damage, but that's neither here nor there. Here's Wormadam Grass Cloak. We got Leaf Cutter. Flip a coin of heads. This does 30 more damage. There's a lot of plus attacks in this. There weren't that many in the original two sets. We have a lot of attacks that are like, this does this much damage, plus this much damage if you get heads or whatever. I like those. Those are fun. I have a good time using Rapidash MI, and now we got more stuff like that. They're all over the place in this new expansion. 60 damage for a base is good. 90 damage for single heads is good. 120 health is good for a stage 1. 3 energies is bad. 2 retreat is bad. Overall, this is an okay card, I think. Better with Snivy, but every single grass mon is better with Snivy. Call for Family. Put one random basic Pokemon from your deck into your bench. When I initially read this, I thought it was a random Kobe or something like that. This is the same effect as Caterpie. Caterpie also does this. It can call for anything, which is actually pretty good. Very squishy, just like Caterpie. But I think that's actually, if this is unchecked, you can rapidly draw a bunch of your deck, which is kind of awesome. One thing is it doesn't go to your hand, it goes right onto your bench. So you got to be ready. Like if you pull the wrong thing, too bad. It's going to be on your bench. You don't get to put it away. It's there. So that can be bad depending on your deck. You have to consider that it's not going to your hand. It's jumping straight to your deck. Looking at this picture, it appears to be a female Combi. They got the little red dot in the center if it's female. So that canonizes that this one can evolve into Vespiquen because, what do you know, we have Vespiquen too. 70 damage, 2 energies, 100 HP. This is a little bit like Beedrill, but it's only a stage 1, which means it's faster and more reliable to get, and it requires 2 energies instead of 1. The 2 retreat cost is kind of lame. 100 HP, you'd wish it was a little bit more, but not a bad card. There's a lot of cards like this, like exactly like this. Like I think Bisharp is basically this, 100 HP, 70 damage. I think 2 retreat cost. Bisharp might be 1 actually. I don't remember. But there's a few cards that work this way. Sandslash. I think a lot of them are 1 retreat, so it's kind of annoying this thing's 2 retreat. But whatever, it's a big mon. I'll give them that. I don't know who the frick managed to convince them to make a Carnivine card. I get that we're in the Gen 4 expansion, but like, what the heck? This is like the single most forgettable Pokemon in the whole franchise. 40 plus 50. You wish that it was a higher number and a smaller plus. You wish it was like 60 plus 30 or something like that. 3 energies is pretty bad. 3 energies to do 40 damage and maybe do 90 damage. It's not great. I don't think this is a very good card. 90 HP for basic is nice. But I really do not like that effect. If you're going to be using it like 3 energies is horrible, and if you're going to be using it like I'm going to be using it with energy acceleration with Snivy, it's like you might as well use Delmise. Delmise has 10 more HP and does 90 damage 100% of the time for 2 energy attachments, whereas this is doing 40 with maybe 50 more. Yeah, this is just a worse Delmise, I feel. Just don't even have this. Even if you're not using energy acceleration, Delmise is doing 90 reliably for 4, and this is not even able to attack until it has 3. Like, just if you're just attaching energy to Delmise and attacking every turn, you're doing 20, 20, 20, 90, 90, 90. Meanwhile, this thing is doing nothing, 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 and then an average of what, 70 or something? I don't know. Hold on. 40 plus 90 divided by 2, 65, right? Average of 65 damage. I don't know. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a good card. This one impressed me. This one got shown earlier. This is quite a good-looking card. First of all, it's only stage 1. Evolves from Eevee. Only 2 energy to attack. It's got the effect that Amistar has, where the opponent can't attack afterward. But, wow, 90 damage is quite good. Like, really good. And only 1 retreat cost. 90 HP I'm willing to work with. This is a great-looking card. I would run this in grass decks. This looks really obnoxious. Just great damage output for, like, not too much investment. This just looks way better than Vespiquen, right? Like, what, Vespiquen... Like, I would say Eevee looked better than Combi. Actually, I don't know. Kumbi yeah, Kumbi was called for family. I take that back. Kumbi might be better than Eevee. Kumbi's effect is really cool. Um, but this like Vespiquen was doing 2 energy to do 70 damage with like 100 health, right? This is doing 90 damage for 2 energy with a cool effect. The opponent can't attack afterward, and it retreats more easily, and you only lose 10 HP. That's great. This is a great card. This is going to be a. I feel like this is going to be on a lot of grass decks. This looks like a really good one. I could be wrong, but I like that a lot. I think that's nice. Mo Rotom. Rotom Mo is what I would normally call this thing. It's a bit weird seeing it called Mo Rotom. Rotom is, I think all of Rotom's forms are in the game. I don't know that. A good number of Rotom's forms are in the game. All of them are basics. None of them look that good. I think they all take several energies to do something, and the effects are kind of novel but not great. Right here we have discard a random energy from the opponent's active Pokemon. So this is a bit like Mawile, but I think Mawile could only do it. Mawile could do it for 1 energy, and this needs 2, but you're doing 30 damage instead of 20. But that wasn't a good card, and this doesn't look like a good card. I would not use this. This looks dumb. Disrupting, getting the opponent to discard a random energy is, I think it's not that good. It seems like it would be good on paper, but I just don't think it's that good. I think it's not disruptive enough to warrant using an entire Mon for it. Shaman, we got a new. I was really looking at new forms of energy acceleration. There are very few. There's one for metal now. I don't remember if they added one for dark. There wasn't one for metal before. There might be one for dark. I don't remember. We got another one for grass. So now we've got 3. We have the Snivy line. We got the Petalil line, and now we've got Shaman. Wait, no, I'm high. This is an energy acceleration. Didn't even read the card. What was the energy acceleration grass type? Was there one? Alright, just disregard everything I just said. This heals your party. I thought there was a grass type that just attached energies to stuff, and I thought it was Shaman. But this is the last grass type. Alright, we'll know it when we see it. Oh, I'm thinking of Manaphy. I'm high. Alright, everyone just... whatever. Alright. Wind it back. This guy just heals your party. And not for very much. Once during your turn, you may heal 10 damage from each of your Pokemon. I guess you can have 2 Shaman on your bench, and you can do it twice. So, technically speaking, that's not horrible. I find it's not that common to have injured Pokemon on the bench. Like, yeah, you'll try and save something if it's almost dead and you can save it and you have other things to go into. But 10 HP is going to take a long time before you get that thing back up to speed. What else? I guess that has good counterplay against Cyrus or whatever. But unfortunately, Cyrus, a lot of the things that hurt the bench do like 20 damage. Like, what do you call it? Greninja. Or like, I don't know, Raichu. And this isn't enough to heal that off in one go, and then Cyrus can pull an injured Pokemon anyway. Flop 30 for 2 energies is pretty bad. 60 HP is pretty bad. This exists to sit on your bench. This doesn't exist to enter the field. Shaman doesn't evolve either. Although it does have another form. It's not in the game yet. Nothing much to say about this card. Wow, it took a while to even get through the grass types. We're going to be here forever. Magmar, Stoke. Take a fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. So there's energy acceleration specifically for Magmar. I think there's... This is like Execute. Execute had this, the Mythical Islands version. It's just, if you lead with this Magmar, you use Stoke, and you get 2 energy per turn instead of 1 energy per turn on this Magmar. Obviously, it can't attack, so this is utterly worthless unless you have its evolution, and spoiler alert, Magmar can evolve. And we do have the evolution here. 2 energy to retreat is horrible. I think the other Magmars are also 2 energy to retreat. At least you can get energy on it pretty easily, but that's annoying. Because you've got to attach the energy and use Stoke, and then you can retreat next turn. It's like, okay, well, I can't retreat this turn. Weak to water is normal for a fire type. Magmortar. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. Everyone, please hold on while I look up what burn is. No one go anywhere. Okay, it's poison, but it's 2 damage counters instead of 1. But it works like sleep in that it goes away if you you flip every turn to see if it goes away. Interesting. Okay, so it's probably going to work like that in this. Burn didn't exist when I played TCG, Pokemon TCG, way back in the day. It was like a newer status ailment. I don't know how new. It's probably been in the game forever at this point. But it wasn't there in the base set. Or Jungler, Fossil, or any of them. 100 damage, 4 energies is very expensive, but you know you have the Magmar with the stoking, I guess. 80 HP Magmar is not amazing. Like you know, while you're trying to stoke the flames, you might get owned. Um, and this makes it very annoying to build up on the bench. Like you can't just have you can have a Magmar on the bench, so you're just sticking energies on. But uh, if you're trying to have it on the bench, it's you have to actually manually attach all 4 energies. Whereas if you're just stoking, you're getting you're doing it in 2 turns instead of 4. Of course, this works with Moltres EX, so you could just stick a whole bunch of energies onto one of the other Magmars, which is probably what I would do if I was running this card. I would run it with Moltres EX and build up one of the other Magmars like that. But whatever. We got 100 damage for 4 energies. It's not great for 4 energies, but the effect of burning is very good. And once you actually have the 4 energies, this is basically as good as energy acceleration is. And fire, I would say, has one of the better energy accelerations, albeit one of the more restrictive. Like, it really forces you to play a certain way to use Moltres EX. Doesn't look like a horrible card, doesn't look like an amazing card. We got Slugma. I didn't ask for it, but I'm happy to see it. Flare, 70 HP instead of 60. Retreat cost of 2 is horrible. I'd rather have 60 HP and 1 retreat cost, but that's me. I do think 70 HP is quite nice. Mag Cargo determines whether that's a good card or not. We got another burner, and this one activates much more quickly. 120 health, amazing. 30 damage, not great. Burning 100% of the time, great. 3 retreat cost, horrible. Looks like a pretty mid card. Might be alright. If there's like things that can abuse the fact the opponent's burned, that might be cool. If the opponent can flip away their burn, that's going to be bad for this card. But I guess if you're burning it anew every turn, that's something. Might be alright. Chimchar, Scratch, 20. It's the bog standard basic. All of our fire types thus far are weak to water, which is normal. Monferno, Fiery Punch for 30. This is another card that benefits from if you go first. Like, you get to put your first energy and evolve at the same time. So that's nice. And then the evolution is even that much more so. For whatever reason, we have regular Empoleon and regular, what's the, not Grotle, what's the Torterra? But then we have Infernape EX. There's no regular Infernape. I find that really strange. They did a single EX. It's just another instance of blatant favoritism towards Infernape compared to the other 2 starters, though. Really interesting card here. 170 HP is a fantastic number. That's even more than like all the other previous EX starters have been 160, I think. So 180 is pretty. No, I think they've been. I think they've been 180 actually. Am I wrong? 180 Blastoise. It's 190 for Venusaur. I think the starters all have a ton of HP, so maybe this is actually a little bit lower than them. But 170 is great. And then this effect is really funny. Only 2 energies, so you can attack with your Monferno, and then you can put on evolve again and put on another energy and attack right away. Discard all fire energy attached to this Pokemon, so even if you have like 100 energies on it, they're all gone. So you're always going to be left with nothing. But then the gimmick is that the retreat cost is 0. That's really interesting. So you come in, you use your Flare Blitz for 140, which is a fantastic number, by the way, and then you're all out. You shot your gun, you're empty. You got to flee. I don't know if that's actually going to be a good effect. It seems kind of suspect to me, but it is very interesting. Maybe you can pivot back and forth between this and a Moltres EX, using like Leaf or whatever. 2 Moltres EXs, and then you're using energy to attach energy to the other one, plus this. I don't know, sounds kind of interesting, sounds kind of good. This does take a little while to build up, like Charizard, so if you're using Moltres EX to build something up, I feel like I'd rather be attaching energy to Charizard, because Charizard, by the time it hits the field, it's probably ready to do some work. This is only ready to do some work exactly 1 time. So whatever you, like, once you fire your Flare Blitz and you're all burned up and you got no energies left, you got to be able to go into something that hopefully is already set up, or at least sets up very quickly. You could just stay in, I suppose, and just attach 2 more energies and just attack every other turn, and do 140 every other turn. That's a way to use this. The 0 retreat cost, it seems like it's tempting you to just retreat as soon as you fire off your bullet, but I do think there's merit to just staying in and attacking every other turn, because 140 is a great damage threshold. Very interesting card. You got a bit of freedom, especially with a high HP total. You got a little bit of freedom on how you're going to play it. Looks good. It looks worthy of the EX in its name. We got another good EX card. Okay. You got Heat Rotom. It's kind of funny. It looks like a fucking pizza oven in this shot. Heat Breath. Flip a coin if heads. This attack does 30 more damage. Not amazing, not horrible. Average damage 45, I suppose. 80 HP, 2 energies to attack, 1 retreat cost. Could be worse. I would never run this. There's no deck where I would ever run this. Be better if it was coin flip for a burn effect, maybe. I don't know. That's cute anyway. Looks cute. That's all our fire types. Swine Up is actually an ice type, and appropriately it's weak to metal. 60 HP, 40 damage for 2 energies. This is like a Bulbasaur or whatever. Great damage for 2 energies. A lot of them only do 30. This is doing 40. That's nice. 2 retreat cost is horrible. The card art is fantastic. 60 HP, you'd like it to be a little bit more on a card that can't even attack until it has 2 energies. I think metal weakness is going to be a bigger issue in this version than it was. Like, metal was a meme in last expansion or whatever with the base set and the Mythical Island. But now metal seems real. I've already looked at the metal types. 2 retreat cost really hurts this, and 2 energy hurts it. But it still looks okay. Again, it's a basic, so it just depends on what it evolves into. Pile of Swine, we got the Thick Fat. Minus 20 damage from fire or water Pokemon. Obviously, that will either not matter or be really good. There's no in between. Hammer in, 60 damage for 3 energies, not horrible. 3 retreat cost is really bad. 110 HP is quite good, especially considering this thing evolves again. Card art still looks good. We can actually see its legs. I feel like normally we can't. Let me think. That Thick Fat could be really nice. This could be like really good for like counter decks or something like that. Very interesting card. Very cute, very novel. I like that they're putting Thick Fat in. I like abilities. I think it's a weakness of TCG Pocket that so many cards only have 1 attack. I think more of them should have 2 attacks. And right now it's still only 1 attack on everything, unless it's an EX card, and even then only some of them. But abilities kind of they pick up the slack. They make it so the card is doing like 2 things. And granted, you're not actually making any kind of decisions with Thick Fat, but it does complicate the way the card is used in a good way. And I feel like this game is better when it's more complex. Mammoth Swine also has Thick Fat, but it's better. It's fatter, I suppose. Weighs more. Minus 30 damage instead of minus 20. And still the same effect. Still fire and water. And then we got a 4 energy. Pretty slow. 120 damage attack. Full retreat cost. Very restrictive. This thing is in until it dies. Or you've got to blow your entire... Like, you could retreat it if you can attack. But, you know... But it's a stage 2. Probably you're in it to win it once this card hits the field. Like, you probably aren't going to try and save it or anything like that. 160 HP is really good, especially for a non-EX card. 120 damage is really good, especially for a non-EX card, but this is going to be like a late game cleaner. This is not going to do anything. The whole line is just built up for late game. Somehow Regice made it in. I don't remember if any of the other Regis made it. I don't think they did. So it might just be this guy. There might be a Regirock and a Regi... What's the other one? Registeel. Actually, they might all be in here. I said they all, but now there's like 3 more. Prevent all effects of attacks used by opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. Seems good. So you can't status it. It says used by your opponent's Pokemon, so maybe trainer cards can still do something to it if there are training cards that can do stuff to your opponent's Pokemon, I guess. I can't think of anything like crazy apart from not being able to get statused or like, it can't lock you out of using your attack or whatever. It's just nice to have that there, but I can't think of like some meta defining thing it's going to be able to do because of that. 2 energies for 50 damage is pretty good. 110 HP basic is pretty good. You could use this as like an early game wall, but needing to attach 2 energies to attack is kind of annoying. Being weak to metal is, it splits up your weakness to lightning. So, it's nice to have not all be weak to one element. True retreat cost, you can leave that. That's okay. This looks like a workable card. There aren't that many walls to hide behind in water decks, but Palkia is in this expansion, and it's like the god wall. So this thing is just a worse version of Palkia, I feel. But at least it's a base. It's not an EX card, so it only gives the opponent 1 point instead of 2. It doesn't look horrible, doesn't look great. It's cute, I guess. I don't know. Piplup. Heal 20 HP from this Pokemon. I hate that. I would rather have an attack. Weak to electric. I like how many ice types they added. 30 damage, Surf, 90 HP. 90 HP is really good. 30 damage is, it's fine. Retreat cost of 1 is good. This looks like a pretty good card. Uh, Once again defined by Empoleon, how good Empoleon is. And Empoleon looks really good. 80 damage to your opponent's uh, active Pokemon, and then 30 damage to one bench Pokemon, which also has nice synergy with Cyrus. There are a lot of water types that are attacking the bench now. I think there's still more in this expansion, and then there's also Seadra and Lumineon in the last ones. So that's I always kind of thought of attacking the opponent's bench as something like an electric type or maybe a dark type would do, but it's a bunch of water types doing it in the current meta, which is kind of funny. Um, Looks like a really good card. 80 damage for 3 energies is workable. 150 HP is a lot of health. True retreat cost is workable. Being able to damage the bench is really powerful. This looks like a good card to me. I would mess with this card. This looks like a fun card. I would love to run this. I'm a Empoleon stan too. Weasel, it's a Gen 4 expansion. We got a bog standard card right here. There's nothing to say about it. Weasel floating on its back. I guess it's like an otter thing, so it would do that. We got like a Manaphy or a Fienny there. I don't remember which one's which. I can never tell them apart. It's nice that he got to come though. Floatzel. Flip a coin if heads. This attack does 30 more damage. That's really not super impressive. There's no other evolution for this either. There's no stage 2. It just stops here. 1 energy is really good, and then doing 30 to 60 damage as early as turn 3 is kind of nice. But 90 HP is not amazing, and 30 is it's not bad. It's good. I don't know if decks are gonna find room for this guy. He's okay, but I think there's much better water types you could be running than this. But I don't remember if there was a water type that was doing this, the 1 energy evolved mon high damage output thing. That's like a fairly common concept, and this is doing more than a lot of the other ones are doing. Like a lot of them are just doing 40, and this guy's doing 30 or 60. That's kind of nice. That's higher. It's a higher average right there. It's more disruptive. It's powerful. This guy on turn 3 on a coin flip can do 60 damage, and that kills a ton of basics. You play your basic, your Weasel. The opponent plays their basic. That's like it's like a let me think. It's like a Magnemite or something. 60 HP, 20 damage, something like that. And then you don't attack. Your opponent puts on an electric energy and attacks, and he could have a Magneton in his hand. It doesn't even matter. The next turn, turn 3, you evolve your Weasel to Floatzel. You put on your energy. You use Jet Screw. You get a heads. You do 60 damage. The opponent never had a chance to evolve. That's the idea behind cards like this. That is theoretically very disruptive, but again, it's only working half the time, and it depends on whether the opponent is even going to die to something like that. Maybe they've got a 70 HP basic. Maybe they've got a 150 HP basic because it's Mewtwo EX. I don't know. Looks okay. Doesn't look horrible. I wouldn't run it. Shellos, we're in Gen 4, baby. 1 slap for 2 energies. 2 retreat cost is horrible. 70 HP is pretty good. Again, we have Manaphy or whatever. Looks okay. I like that we got both the Shellos there. It's not like they had to give us the pink one or the blue one. They give us both. I don't know which one I like more. I think I like the pink one's hair more, but I like the blue one's color scheme more. I don't know. They're both perfect. Which Gastrodon they give us? They give us both again. We got 2 Gastrodon. Truly, we are blessed. Muddy Water, Cannon Move for Gastrodon, I think. Stack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so this is basically like the Empoleon we just looked at. 3 retreat cost is horrible. 120 HP is quite good for a stage 1. 3 energy is pretty annoying. If you get a Misty Flip, that's great. What are some other evolved water types that need 3 energy? There's like Krabby, I guess. Krabby's Kingler's doing 80 damage to your opponent with a 1/4 chance of 160, and this is doing 60 damage plus 20 damage to one of the bench Pokemon. Attacking the bench is very powerful. It's hard to say which of those cards is better. This looks like it might see some play. Might not. No idea. I think Water Acceleration is still Misty, but then you also have the Manaphy. We got a new Finneon. Who would have guessed there would be 2 Finneons by now? By the second expansion, we got 2 Finneons. Flip a coin if heads. This is just this is Dive, but they renamed it Elegant Swim. Or Dig. It does the same thing. 10 damage is horrible. 50 HP is horrible. But you do have the coin flip of not taking damage every turn, so that's kind of nice. This thing can actually maybe pull some miracles and have some survivability despite its very poor bulk. 50 is not a lot. It's very low, but it's hard to one-hit KO in the first few turns. Like the opponent needs like Farfetch'd plus Giovanni or something like that to one-hit KO this, so they need an electric type doing 30. which there are plenty. There's like Joltik and Zebstrike even, or I think there's another one. Pikachu, Mythical Island. I think there's another one still. There's like quite a few electric types that actually do 30 damage. Um, but the survivability on that is kind of cool. What's our new Lumineon? It's bad. One energy. Okay, I take it back. That's kind of cool. This actually looks workable. This looks like a Genetic Apex Rapidash. This is a beast on turn 3 right here. We got another card that benefits from going first. And I've been saying we need more of those cards, and we do. And here's one. 9 HP, not bad. 50 damage for 1 energy, actually very good. Amusingly, it has synergy with the other Lumineon, which can attack any Pokemon except the bench. Or, I mean, except the active Pokemon for 50 damage. This guy hits only the active Pokemon for 50 damage. And you can retreat from the other one straight to this one, so, Lumineon decks, here they come. They got reverse synergy, actually, because you can only run one of each. Because they're the same Pokemon. This actually looks okay. I was too hard on it. 50 damage per turn. That's not bad. For 1 energy, that's not bad. You just evolve this, you stick your 1 energy on it, and then you just attack every single turn while you're sticking energies on other things, and then maybe you retreat it, maybe you let it die. I don't know. Looks okay. Still, Palkia is going to be doing a better job, but this is doing more damage than Palkia. Has to evolve, though. That's annoying. Snover. It's so Snover, bros. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a fighting type, this attack does 30 more damage. I don't know what that has to do with Ice Shard. I thought Ice Shard just went first or whatever. So we got a little bit more counterplay. More water types with counterplay against specific other types. 40 damage for 1 energy is great. 10 damage for 1 energy is horrible. Retreat cost of 2 is pretty bad. Weakness to metal might be okay. 70 HP is quite good. This looks like a workable Pokemon. This really looks bad unless you're fighting a fighting deck. Let's see what they do with Abomasnow, though. That has no synergy with what we were just looking at. In fact, this looks, I don't know, it doesn't look horrible. It kind of does look horrible. That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. Like, you can't rely on Misty for that much. You gotta really be sticking energies like crazy on this little guy. I do not like cards like this. This is too slow. You've got other win cons you can be sticking energies on, I feel like. Like, this isn't, you'd rather stick 4 energies on a Blastoise than 4 energies on an Abomasnow. I'm not impressed by this. 4 retreat is also really horrible. No, I don't like this card at all. It's ugly. Get it out of my face. Glaceon. Leafeon really impressed me, so let's see. We got Ice Beam. This is just Articuno, but it only needs 2 energies instead of 3. So that's good. I think Articuno might have had 100 health too. This only has 90, but I'll take it. This looks like quite a good card. This looks very annoying. I can see water decks running this. It's kind of funny that we got 2 different evolutions in water. We got Glaceon and Vaporeon. We actually have 2 different Vaporeons, so you can run all those. You can run 1 of each Vaporeon plus 2 Glaceons plus 2 Eevees in your water deck if you want. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I would use this. Oh, there is Vaporeon passing around water energies. I forgot about that. It's not energy acceleration per se, but you can use that to get energies onto your Abomasnow. That's not nothing. I didn't consider that. That's interesting. We got Wash Rotom. Looks okay. I probably wouldn't run it. I would run it if it had retreat cost of 1, maybe. 80 HP is quite good for a basic. 1 energy for 30 damage is quite good for a basic. Weakness to electric is kind of funny. It's an electric type itself in the games, but whatever. Looks okay. All the Rotoms are not. This one doesn't have like a weird effect or anything. It's just okay. We do have another Rotom in the water type though. Blizzard. This attack also does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so that's quite valuable because it gives you Cyrus. Cyrus is going to be a big deal in the coming expansion, I feel. I could be wrong, but Cyrus seems good to me. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. 10 is not a lot, Can be healed off by Shaman, I suppose. 30 damage to the particular enemy in front of you. Only 1 retreat cost. That's nice. 2 energy to attack is workable. 80 HP is quite good. I can see this maybe seeing some play. Maybe. Palkia, when I initially saw this card, I was not impressed. I was like, okay, this is just going to make me hate life when the opponent gets 4 Misty Heads on turn 1. This is a basic. 150 HP basic, and it can attack with 1 energy. This is the new... Water types were missing this. This is the new premier wall for, like, water types. This is, like, any, like, obviously like Magikarp or something like that, any deck is gonna love to just, like, any water deck is gonna love to just stick this here, lead with it, get your one energy on it, and then pour all of the rest of your energies onto your bench Pokemon while this just sits there and is fat. While you build up the rest of your team, and even better if you put like a Rocky Helmet or something like that on it. Rocky Helmet's a Pokemon tool we'll be saying later. This looks like a really obnoxious card. It does have another attack. I think we'll probably almost never see it. It is kind of an alternate win condition for people. If things are going really awry for your water deck, maybe you can start putting energies onto this. Discard 3 water energy from this Pokemon. This attack also does 20 damage to each of your bench Pokemon, opponent's bench Pokemon. The 150 is incredible. 20 to the bench Pokemon is kind of icing on the cake. It's probably not a huge deal, but maybe you can hit the opponent down to some damage thresholds. Again, we have an instance where Vaporeon can potentially move energies onto this from the rest of your party. So, you put your one energy onto this in the beginning of the game, and then you attack with Slash repeatedly while you're building up other mons in the back, like your Starmie EX or your Articuno EX or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what you're running. And then when all is said and done, you leaf this out of the field once your other mons are set up, and you start attacking with your other mons. And then, when the battle's nearly over, or like when you've kind of passed around your mons a little bit, you get this guy back into the field. Your Vaporeon passes all your other guys' energies onto this guy. You stick one more energy on him just to make it 4. And then you use Dimensional Storm and kill the last mon. One thing that's kind of funny is that Mew can one-shot this with its attack and doesn't need to discard any energies, so that's going to be a thing that you're going to have to worry about as a Palkia user. Mew is like the anti-EX card, somehow. It just perfectly counters like every other EX mon. I guess Mew will probably also be attacking Infernape without having to discard anything. That sounds fun. That sounds really annoying. Mew the goat. Mew doesn't have to do the discard effects when it attacks, I don't think. It doesn't with any of the current cards. I don't know. I guess anyone who's running Mew, and Mew fits into any deck color, anyone who's running Mew might try and get it out against this thing and just kill it. And that's 2 points real quick, so you got to be worried about that if you're a Palkia user. But I can see this being used on like every water deck from here on out. Or all the slow ones especially. The fast ones maybe not. But this is decently fast too, just because of the 30 on turn 1. Well, turn 2. Manaphy, Energy Acceleration. This is the one I started to describe earlier. Two of your bench Pokemon, and you can put a water energy on each of them. You can't put 2 energies on the same mon, it looks like. Not amazing. I think this effect would have made more sense on Feony, because it's kind of like a friendship effect, it's kind of cutesy, and it's not super powerful. Manaphy is kind of a threat in addition to being a cutie patootie, but Feony is only a cutie patootie, so I would have liked to see that. 50 HP is miserable. No attack is miserable, but it's just an energy acceleration card. It just lets you get an early lead. This is a hyper aggressive mon, even though it doesn't look like it. This is like hyper rushdown. You put your Manaphy on the field right away. You use its Oceanic Gift as many times as your opponent lets you, and then you hit the field with your mons that are all set up, because you set up like 3 mons at once. 2 mons at once. It's interesting. Manaphy's interesting. Alright, we hit all the water types. We're 48 minutes deep. It's a long haul. Magnemite, Ram. We got a new Magnemite. The other one did 20 damage, but this one only does 10, so this kind of looks like a downgrade. I think everything else is the same, so I think you'll actually never run this, despite the fact that it's extremely cute. Because I think they're both weak to fighting. They're both 1 energy retreat. I think it's literally just a difference. This can be run in any deck, I guess, because, it's colorless energy to attack. I don't know if that's worth it, because, I guess Magneton, the other one, can attach specifically lightning energies to itself. So, theoretically, you can use this Magnemite to run the other Magneton in any deck color. I don't think you'd ever do that. I don't think you would. Lightning Ball for 50. Not horrible, not great. 2 energies, that's okay. 80 HP is quite good. It's okay, it's workable. It's not that good. 1 retreat cost is good. Weakness to fighting is pretty standard. It's what you would expect for a Magneton. Looks alright, but now we've actually got... This is radically different from the other Magneton. The other Magneton needed 4 energies to do 60, which sounds bad, but it can stake an energy on itself every turn, so it's pretty easy to hit that number. We got a new one here. We got Magnezone. Discard Lightning Energy from this Pokemon. That's not a huge deal. If you're discarding only a single energy every turn, you can still use that attack every turn. The problem is you're not building up anything else. That's the downside. But at least you're able to rapid fire with this guy. 140 HP is pretty good. 110 is a little bit of a disappointing number, but it is really strong. Like, you're not going to be one-shotting a lot of endgame stuff, win cons with this, but you are going to be two-shotting everything in the game. And you'll probably get 2 attacks off with 140 HP. Retreat cost of 2 is workable. I was expecting this to have like 3 retreat cost or even 4, but it's only 2, so you can leave it out of the field if you want to. Looks pretty good to me. I don't know if I'd build a deck around it, but it looks like you could have a deck with it. I think that there is a Faulkner, not Faulkner. What's this? A Volkner? I don't remember. I gotta find him. Volkner. He works with Electivire and Luxray. Attach 2 lightning energy from your discard pile to them. That's really whack. I'm glad I went and looked at this now. The game tracks which energies you've discarded. Even though they're not cards per se, it still tracks which energies have been put away. And previously that wasn't used. Like, if you clicked on your discard pile, it would show you how many energies you discarded. But nothing used that. But now we've got a card that actually uses it. So you can't just give 2 electric energies to those cards. You had to have actually discarded those energies via Raichu or via Mon's Fainting or stuff like that. So this can't just create energy, but it can. It does give you energy, a new form of energy acceleration for electric. That does work with this Magnezone, so that's kind of nice. You can just suddenly have this Magnezone on the field and then suddenly have 2 energy on it, 2 additional energy. So actually, this Magnezone sets up very quickly. All you need is for it to not be your first mon. You need something else knocked out that was already attacking, and all of a sudden this Magnezone's ready to go. Huge points for that. That's nice. Voltorb. Big explosion. This Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself, so it's like Joltik except it's hurting itself, but it has more health. Looks okay. We got a new Electrode. I would run the other Electrode. I don't know. This one, you get 50 for 1 energy. The other one is 70 for 2 energy. But the other one is also 0 retreat cost, which I think is pretty cool. There's merit to only needing to attach 1 energy to this. That's not useless. That's quite nice. This is, again, one of those cards that benefits from going first. 80 HP is, I think, the same as the other one. The other one might only be 70 HP. Electrode is a mon that has very low HP in the game, so it makes sense it would have very low HP in the TCG. Retreat cost of 1 is, disappointing after the other one, but it still looks like a very workable card. I can see this being used. 50 is quite good for 1 energy. That's all I gotta say. We got another Electabuzz, so now we got 3. Take its energy attachments to itself, so this is just Magmar, but electric instead. Instead of stoking a fire, we're charging a weird bear thing. Weird tiger thing. 80 HP is not great, but I think it is higher than the other 2 Electabuzz. I think the other ones are both 70. Retreat cost of 2 is not amazing. This is just Magmar. It's just Magmar. They made Magmar again. Let's see what we're building up to. Okay, so we've got synergy with Volkner. That's actually really cool. Okay, this is better than I thought. When I initially saw this, I hadn't seen Volkner yet. So you do you put your 1 energy on your what do you call it thing? Your Electabuzz, and you charge, and now you've got 2 energy. And the next turn you evolve, and all of a sudden you're an Electivire, and you're doing 40. You get to attack, and then maybe stick more energies on it, But you also can put 2 energy on this guy on the bench, and then once something gets knocked out, you can bring this guy in and use Volkner, and all of a sudden he's got 4 energy. Bing, bang, boom. And you're doing 120 damage per turn. That's quite good. And Mew EX can't copy it. Ha ha ha, trolled. 120 HP is workable. It's quite good for a stage 1. 3 retreat cost is horrible, but I think you're probably going to be using this in Volkner decks. And I don't know, it looks alright. Looks alright to me. I can see that actually doing some work. Shinx. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. Wait, was Volkner? It was Electivire, right? Electivire was one of the Pokemon. Electivire and Luxray. I thought it was something else, too. What did I think it was? I thought it was Magnezone. It's not Magnezone. It's only Electivire and Luxray. Disappointing. My bad. My bad, guys. It's my first time seeing all these cards. Hide. It's just it's dig or dive, but it doesn't deal damage. So it's just a worse version of those. Not a good card. I don't like it. Luxio. 2 energies, 40 damage. Workable. Workable. I don't mind that. This decent. I can live with that. Um, Not amazing, especially because you didn't get any damage on the way up because Shinx can't attack. Did you know that this Pokemon has the ability Intimidate? And so does this one. Are you intimidated? Luxray. Discard all electric energies from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So I think Giovanni only works if you hit the mon in front of you. So you can't just use this to kill a Mew EX on the bench, which is unfortunate. You can use it to kill a Pikachu EX on the bench. Um, this doesn't work with Lieutenant Surge. I think Lieutenant Surge only works with specific Pokemon, right? So you can't just like give this a bunch of energy. You can't just magic some energy onto this mon. Wait, Volkner works with Luxray. I take it back. It works. It works. It works. So, you have some mon doing some work and then it dies and then you send out your Luxray and it's only got 1 energy on it, but you Volkner up 2 more from your dead mon. Or maybe you attach an energy to it this turn and Volkner up. And then it's got enough energy to kill something else, maybe. So, synergy. I like it. For a stage 2, that's not amazing. And 130 HP is not great. Lightning types have this big issue where none of them have very much HP. Do we have a mon with a lot of HP here? No. Magnezone has the most at 140. Electivire has 120. Luxray has 130. So we still have very low HP on our electric mons. Even Zapdos only has, I think, 130, whereas Articuno and Moltres both have 140. So little downgrades. They don't want electric types to have a lot of health. That's one of the big signatures of the electric type. Pachirisu EX, I don't know what we're doing here. This is a really weird card. It's a basic, so it activates very quickly. It's hard for me to imagine a world where you would run this over Pikachu EX. Maybe you could run both of them. So it's 40, and then it's 80 with if the opponent has a Pokemon tool. And Pokemon tools are probably going to be pretty frequently used because they look good. But 80 is not like some crazy damage number. It's pretty good. Again, Pikachu EX does 90, so it's a little bit weaker than that. 80 for 2 energies is good, but I don't know if it's EX good. 120 health is tied for the lowest of any EX card. I personally am not impressed by this mon, but it depends on how. If every mon on the whole field is running around with Pokemon tools, I can see this being okay. But that's the only way I can see this being okay. Retreat cost of 1 is kind of nice. Weakness to fighting, so what's it called? Marshadow. Marshadow can just one-shot this, like Pikachu. Not amazing. I like that they did another thing. They gave another Pika clone the Pikachu EX treatment, but I would rather build a team around Pikachu EX. This thing looks easier to slot in. This thing doesn't need teammates. You can just have one of these in the back. This can be just like, oh, my opponent's using Pokemon tools. Let me put my energy onto Pachirisu. Let me play it. Might be good, might not. No idea. And we got regular, boring, ordinary Rotom with Assault Laser. It also attacks mons with Pokemon tools. We do 20 normally and 30 if they have the tool. Notably, it requires a colorless energy, so you can put it into any deck. This could be your dedicated Pokemon tool attacker. Maybe they put out a Druddigon with a Rocky Helmet, and you're like, oh, I don't like that. Better put out my Rotom so I can two-shot it. You can do that on any deck. I don't love that idea. That's probably not the way I would do it, because Rotom would also kill itself in that scenario. Because it would attack twice and it would take 40 damage each time it attacked. Okay, forget that was my example. Not amazing, I think, but it depends on how good tools are. We have very few fighting types. I mean, not fighting types. Psychic types in this expansion. They're like ghosts and fairies and stuff. Here we have a fairy. Behold, a fairy. Togepi. Here to introduce the egg mechanic to us. Psych. This is a baby Pokemon, but they did not make a baby effect for it, just like how they didn't with Riolu, just like how they didn't with what are the other? There's like another baby in the game somewhere. Magby and Elekid are not even implemented, and I don't know what the frick they're going to do with them, because they're established to be basics, the evolutions. Weak to Steel. Might be okay. Retreat cost 1, normal. 50 HP, kind of low. Not a great card. Togetic. This looks pretty good. 1 energy for 40 damage is nice. 80 HP is workable. This is a card that benefits from going first. Retreat cost 1 is pretty good. This is a good evolution, I would say. And then this mofo, a lot of people have been talking about this little fella. 140 HP, it's workable, it's quite good. 60 damage for its attack, and then next time you use it, if you use it right away, it's doing 120. And then presumably the turn after that it's doing 120, and the turn after that it's doing 120. As long as it's not the first attack. First attack does 60, and then it's 120, 120, 120, 120. That's quite obnoxious. Already 180 is enough to kill like anything in the game. And there's no like caveat that you have to be hitting the same target over and over. It's like you can kill something with 60 damage, and then the thing that comes in you can then hit for 120. That looks kind of good to me. And again, 2 energies for an evolve mob means you can use overdrive smash on like the turn you evolve. You can have this thing as early as turn 5, and you can be attacking with it as early as turn 5. So nice synergy there. This looks pretty good. And there's another thing about it that makes it even better, which is Cynthia. Hold on. Cynthia works on this card. During this turn, attacks used by your Garchomp or Togekiss do plus 50 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you could use this on the turn where you first deploy your Togekiss and do 110, or you could use this on the turn where Togekiss is already attacked, and you could do what, 170? Yeah, that seems kind of good, doesn't it? I think so. And not only that, but you could do both because you can run 2 Cynthia in your deck, so you could do 110 and then 170. Seems kind of good to me. Where were we? Oh, we're getting down. We're getting through it. Togekiss, it depends on how much you're going to really be able to spam that attack, but it looks good on paper. Mumble. I think they could have picked a better word. 60 HP, 20 damage. This is a bog standard card. Weak to Dark. That's exactly what you'd expect. Mismagius EX. They don't have a regular Mismagius. We just got an EX version. 70 damage is pretty good for 2 energies. We got Guaranteed Confusion, and we got 140 health. This looks like a really good card. I can see this being very obnoxious. I'm not looking forward to facing this thing online. 1 energy cost to retreat is also very nice. We got a Ralts. We now have the Gallade line, and that confirms that all Ralts, all playable Ralts in the game are male. Just wanted to let everyone know that. We got Abra's Attack, Teleport, which Ralts does learn, so cannon points. Looks like Magikarp, but with more HP. Looks like Abra. Just looks like Abra. They just made Abra again. The gimmick with the new Ralts and the new Kirlia is they're both colorless. And the reason they did that is because Gallade is a fighting type that needs 2 fighting type energies. So that would have terrible synergy with the existing Ralts and the existing Kirlia. So they added these new Ralts and Kirlia that have colorless energies so you can use them in fighting decks. So here's a psychic type card that is for fighting decks. I think it's just a worse version of the other one, right? I think you would run this Ralts instead of the other Ralts. I think this is the new best Ralts. I don't like the card art for it. I don't know what he's standing on. Looks like it's the autumn, like he's standing on the leaves or whatever that all fell off the trees. I don't know. I don't like that. But this I think this is just worse than the other Kirlia. I think. I don't remember. Rarely does Kirlia ever hit the field, so I don't remember what it does. I don't remember if the other Kirlia has 1 energy to attack or 2. I think it's only 1, right? I think it's 30 damage for 1 energy. So if you're running Psychic decks, you would run the other Kirlia. But if you're running Fighting decks, obviously you'd be running this. I guess we'll just jump down to the Fighting to look at Gallade EX, because that's, the evolution. It's a Fighting type. 170 HP is fantastic. And then we have Psychic, but it's actually Energized Blade, but it's the effective Psychic. This attack does 20 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. 70 is a good base, and plus 20 could be really good if they got like 3 or 4 energies. Like that's nice. You're getting quite a lot of damage from that. It's not as strong as you would want for a stage 2. Like it's pretty good. It's not gonna one-shot stuff. Is the problem. Everything that actually needs 3 energies is not gonna die in one hit to what would that be, 130 or something? Am I high? 90, 110, 130. Yeah. Okay, Celebi would. Celebi would die. But like most Mons that are super energy hungry also have a lot of HP and would live through this. This is like a really... I think the synergy here of this... You wish it was plus 30 damage for each energy or something like that, even if the number was lower. Might be a good card. Depends on how it's going to face against all the other cards. We got Duskull. Fan favorite right here. Funny little skull guy. You got the moon, got the clock tower, whatever it is. I don't know, it's just a church tower. I don't know. Will-O-Wisp for 20. Duskull does learn Will-O-Wisp. It doesn't do damage. Well, it does by burn damage, but whatever. Very cannon move for a Ghost to learn, I feel. 3 energy to do 50. That's not great. That's like Kadabra. I think this is like the same card as Kadabra. It might be identical, actually. I don't remember what Kadabra's HP is, but I think it uses 3 energy to do 50 damage. 2 retreat cost is not ideal, but it makes sense that Dusclops would have a hard time retreating, I guess. It's kind of a fat, slow mon. Dusknoir has a really interesting effect. As often if you like doing your turn, you may choose one of your Pokemon that has damage on it and move all the damage to this Pokemon. It doesn't say that you can't knock yourself out, so presumably you can knock yourself out if you really, really want to. Giving the opponent a point might still be worth it to dodge a one-hit KO to make it so you can survive an attack. This is a little similar to Alakazam in the old TCG, which could move move damage counters anywhere. This one can only move things to itself, but 130 HP is pretty good. You can use this to keep your other mons healthy just by beating it up. I don't know if there's any like good recovery yet in the game. I don't think there is. So once this thing takes a lot of damage, there's nothing you can really do about that. Be nice if there was like Pokemon Center or some card like that, I guess. I don't know. Pretty interesting card. Probably very good. In a pinch, you can also attack with it. 70 damage for 3 energies is not very good, especially for a stage 2 mon. Retreat cost of 2 is also... it's okay. You probably mostly want this to hide in the bench, though. You probably don't want this to hit the field. This is probably just here to keep your other mons healthy. Very interesting card. Very strategic. A+. Like it a lot. Big fan of Dusknoir anyway. Drifloon. Expand. Takes less damage from attacks. I think one of the Jigglypuffs had this in, like, the tabletop TCG. This exact attack with this exact effect. 50 HP sucks. Reducing damage you take is good, I guess, but, you know, if the opponent attacks first, you can't reduce that. Weak to Electric is interesting for a Psychic type. It's because it's Flying type. Drifblim. There are other cards that do 70 with 2 energies. I think this is literally Slurpuff. I think Slurpuff is also 100 HP, 60 damage for 2 energies, but you have a novel weakness. So I think this is probably better than Slurpuff. Wait, Slurpuff also has a novel weakness. It's weak to metal, right? Wow. Hard call. Probably about as good as each other. I don't know. Maybe you want Slurpuff, maybe you want Drifblim. Pick your favorite. They're both cute, but they're like the same damn card. This one might have a lower retreat cost. I don't remember if Slurpuff is 1 or 2. I do not have all my retreat costs memorized. I'm so sorry, chat. Uxie. The fairies are very whack. I don't know what to think. Take a psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to Mesprit or a Zelf. What are we doing here? So you're intended to use them together, I guess. 70 HP is not great. 20 damage is not great, but you've got energy acceleration specifically for Mesprit and a Zelf. Mesprit, I guess, is technically how it should be pronounced because it's supposed to be you, me, us. But saying Uxie, Mesprit, and a Zelf just sounds really strange. I like Mesprit more, but I think it's supposed to be Mesprit. I guess it might be Sprite because it's supposed to be Elf, Sprite, and Pixie. I don't know. It feels very whack to say Sprite. It's gonna stay Mesprit. This is stupid. 1 retreat cost, sure. So this thing is basically a good card only if Uxie and Mesprit and Elf are good. Mesprit is pretty interesting. You may use this attack only if you have Uxie and Zelf on your bench. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. The discard effect is horrible, but 160 is a very large number. And okay, so let's get a perfect world here. You deploy your Uxie turn 1. You put an energy on it, and you use Mind Boost to give an energy to Mesprit. And you still need to attach another energy to Mesprit, and then another one to Mesprit. You can't just attack with this on the next turn. Even if you have all the relevant Pokemon on the field. So I don't love that. But 160 is enough to one-hit KO the vast majority of Pokemon, so I do love that. Having to devote like 3 or even 6 slots on your deck to these dumb fairies sounds very obnoxious, just to make sure you have them all on the field. I don't love that. I think this is going to be very gimmicky. And then his Elf's effect has nothing to do with that. It's just 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. You can target specific things. 20 is not great, but I do appreciate that this is like the only basic that can target bench Pokemon like that. Like most things have to evolve to do it. I lied. There's Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee does it for 30. This guy's only doing it for 20, and Hitmonlee I think has more health. Ugh, they don't look great. You're intended to use them all together, but I feel like it makes them all very hard to use. I wish they had more HP. If they had more, if they all had 90 or something, that'd be okay. But the fact that they all have 70 is just awful. Cool card art though. I don't know what we're doing with Giratina. This one's pretty funny. If this Pokemon has any energy attached, it has no retreat cost. So it has a retreat cost of 3, so you need to spend a Leaf and Egg Speed in order to be able to retreat it if it has no energy. But the Nanosecond has 1 energy, you can just retreat it. So that's a little annoying, but also really good. Being able to go to 0 retreat is amazing. You can just switch this thing out like crazy, because you're not discarding the energy. Um, Having a 0 retreat mon at all is kind of useful, just inherently. Like if you have 2 cards and you need like the 2 different win conditions and you need different draws, it's like, oh, this one can win if I draw Giovanni, but this one can win if I draw my stage 2. Uh, if you have like a 0 retreat card on the field, you can go into that and then draw your card and then retreat into whichever one you got. A little bit of freedom there. And a 120 HP with 0 retreat means you can kind of let it get hurt and then switch out. So that's cool. Pretty interesting card. It can attack too. 120 HP is good, and 70 damage for 3 energies is workable. Not amazing. It's not really an attacker. It's more of like a floats around kind of card. Um, I guess some synergy with, like you have energy acceleration with Ralts, with Gardevoir. So, you can hit the 70, I suppose. I don't know if I would ever, I don't know if I would run this. It looks okay. I don't know what, I think it's probably going to have some cool synergy with something, but I don't know what you're going to do with it. Um, Cresselia, 50 damage, and heals itself for 20 every turn. Um, Looks like a good early game wall. Most people using Psychic decks are using Mewtwo EX as their early game wall, which is annoying because it's also your primary attacker. Um, so it ends up taking quite a lot of damage while it's just setting up to get your side drive active. This thing actually has a ton of health if you count all the attacks it's going to be healing from. 110 HP plus, like repeated 20 heals. I think that actually matters in the early game. Won't matter that much in the late game. And then 50 damage is also it's the same as Mewtwo. So looks workable to me. I can actually see this card seeing some use. I personally would run this card in a Psychic deck. So A plus. I like it. We got a new Rhyhorn. This one is, I guess it's better than the other one. 80 HP is that more? No, I think that's the same amount. I think the other one had 80 as well. This one does 40 damage for 2 energies, whereas the other one did 60 damage for 3 energies. Um, you still have the 3 retreat cost. It still looks pretty bad. I would still not run this. I would probably prefer this one to the other one. We have a new Rhydon. Only 3 energies to attack instead of 4, and we're doing 70 damage instead of 100. And we have 3 retreat costs instead of 4, and we also have an additional... Was Rhydon 100 HP or was it 120 HP? I don't remember. I don't remember how much health it had. Well, we got a new Rhydon and it attacks for cheaper, so I think it's probably better. I'm still not impressed by it at all. It looks still bad. We have a new evolution. We have Rhyperior. This card, the top 3 cards of your deck. This is very all-in, but it's also very hilarious. This is probably the new funniest card. I mean, you're going nuts. You're if you're not winning with this, you're not winning. Is the commitment here? You could be discarding really good cards, but it's just like, whatever. Let's do this. We're here with our Rhyperior. Mountain swing, mountain swing, mountain swing. Just swing the mountain until you're dead. 4 retreat cost means you're never backing out with this mon. You're here till you die. 160 HP is quite good. It's way too slow. You need fighting type energy acceleration. And I think that still doesn't exist for this. Brock doesn't work with this. Gligar, bog standard card. Weak to grass, notably, which it isn't in the games, but that's neither here nor there. I get why they wouldn't want to make it weak to water. I don't know what other weakness they could possibly give it, since in the games it's only weak to like water and ice, and I can't think of anything else. It might just be those two. Gliscor, put 2 coins, 20 damage more for each heads. So 20 guaranteed, 40 average, and 60 maximum. That seems okay. It doesn't look amazing. I mean, there's other cards that do something very similar to this. Again, I was saying there's like other cards like Rapidash that just have 100 HP and do 40 damage for 1 energy. I think Clefable is one of them, stuff like that. This is doing a 40 damage average, but you got a little bit of randomness, and the randomness is actually... I think the randomness is good, because the randomness gives the potential for disruptive upsets, basically. If you get 60 on a card that has 60 HP, that's very disruptive. I wouldn't run this. There's other... I would probably just run Primeape. Primeape has, what, 90 HP? I don't remember, but it's doing 50 damage guaranteed every attack for 1 energy. And I think it only has a retreat cost of 1. Once again, this thing's weak to Grass. Primeape is weak to Psychic. We got Hitmontop, which is a basic, even though it's not in the... well, whatever, even though Tyrogue exists. 80 HP, spinning attack for 50. I would never run this. It's funny how good Hitmonlee is, and Hitmonchan and Hitmontop are just not impressive at all to me. Yeah, there's nothing going on here. I would never use this card. 50 damage for 2 energy, huh? I feel like there's something else. There's like another fighting type that's literally this. What is it? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe no such card exists. We got Nose Pass. Ram for 30. Can notably used in a colorless deck, I guess, or a deck of any color, rather. 70 HP is good. 2 energies is horrible. 2 retreat cost is horrible. Does not look like a good card, but maybe Probopass will save it. Probopass is not here, which means it's a metal card. Where are you? There you are. Triple Nose. Okay, so now Nose Pass needing colors then makes a lot of sense, given that it evolves into a metal type. Flip 3 coins. This attacks 50 more damage for each heads. Very goofy attack effect. So we're usually... Our minimum is 30. We're usually doing either 80 or 130. And then our maximum is 180. That actually seems really good. That actually looks like a really good card. The retreat cost is not attractive. The price is very unattractive. That's a lot of energies. This is going to be very slow to activate. Even though the attack is really strong, I don't love that. But there's now Steel-type energy acceleration, so we'll see. Don't love that, though. We do have Regirock, so that seems to suggest the Registeel is here somewhere. Exoskeleton. This Pokemon takes minus 20 from attacks. That's pretty good. I like that. We got Ice Body, and now we got Exoskeleton. 4 energies is horrible. 100 damage is not even that much for 4 energies. That's the same as Rhydon. This guy does have... This is just better than Rhydon. This is just a better Rhydon. The other Rhydon, the Genetic Apex one. Genetic Apex Rhydon was like 120 HP, I think, and it was 100 damage for 4 energy, but it didn't have the Exoskeleton, and you had to evolve to get it on the field. And it had a retreat cost of 4 instead of 3. And they have the same weakness. This just beats Rhydon's ass. This is just a way better mon than Rhydon. Doesn't look amazing. Let me think. Stonejourner is like kind of similar. That thing is 120 damage and 120 HP and 90 damage for 3 energies. This thing is 100 damage for 4 energies. So I'd rather have the 90 damage for 3. But the Exoskeleton is the difference maker here. That's actually pretty nice. Like, you can deploy this in the early game even, if you're forced to, if you just draw it as your only basic. And maybe you're facing, Chimchar, and he uses his little attack that does 20 damage, and it does 0 damage to you because you have your Exoskeleton. So that's kind of nice. You're not taking that much damage in the early game. I'm not impressed by this card, though. I find that to be too slow. If you're going to stick 4 energies on something, it should be something that does 150 damage and deducts 2 psychic energies to do it. We got Cranidos, 90 HP, 50 Okay, wait, hold on. It's a Fossilmon. It has to evolve from a fossil. I was like, this is the new best basic in the game, but actually it's not a basic. So it's like a better Kabuto, I guess. Kabuto might have 100 health. This thing is a retreat cost of 2, which is not amazing. Weakness to grass is what you would expect from a rock type. Looks pretty good. I like how much damage it's doing for 1 energy. It's just Primeape. It's very similar to Primeape. And we got Rampardos. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, this Pokemon also does 50 damage to itself. Why is it not a Rockhead Rampardos? 130 is a lot. And 1 energy is awesome. You just take your 1 energy on your fossil, and then it only needs 1 energy as a Cranidos, and then it only needs 1 energy as a Rampardos. Doing 50 damage to yourself sucks. The fact that you don't always do it, the way that Golem does, is kind of nice. Like maybe if the opponent just lives because they're a 170 HP mon, you know, you don't hurt yourself and then you live through their attack. That's cool. I don't know what happens if you kill yourself with the recoil and both you and your opponent get the third point. Do you get it first and win, or is it a draw game? I don't actually know the rules. I've never been in that scenario yet. Um, Looks like a pretty good card, honestly. I like how little energy it takes, but again, it doesn't work with Pokeball because it's a fossil, so that's unfortunate. I can see this being used in actual decks. And I forgot about the Lucario is going to be making this card better. Lucario's going to be affecting a lot of the fighting types. So I've got to consider that when I'm looking at all the fighting types. Like him on top is better because of Lucario's existence. Or Gliscor. Or Rhyperior. Rhyperior hitting for 70 with its mountain. I mean 170. We got Wormadam Sandcloak, I believe. It doesn't actually say on here. It's Trash Cloak, Sandcloak, and I don't remember what the grass one is called. Leaf Cloak? Who knows? It's just Onyx, but it's worse because you have to evolve your way into it. Onyx is 110 HP and does 30 damage for 3 energies. 70 damage for 3 energies. Retreat cost of 2 is better than Onyx, but Onyx has Brock and this doesn't, and you need to evolve into this, which is a downside. Onyx just deploys right away. So this is just, you're dedicating your trash ass Burmy, and then you're getting a Wormadam that's just a worse Onyx. Being a worse Onyx is a pretty low blow, I feel, because Onyx is not good. Riolu, bog standard, nothing to say about it. It's cute. I like it. Lucario is here. Fighting Coach. Attacks used by your fighting type mon do plus 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This automatically works on itself, so it's doing 60 damage with its attack. This is a very mediocre card, but it is the ultimate benched Pokemon. You don't want this to enter the field. You want this to be hiding in the back. And there's no caveat that says it doesn't stack, so you could have 2 of them hiding on the bench. And every fighting type mon you hit the field with is going to be doing plus 20 damage. That's awesome. Marshadow is going to be doing 120 damage with its revenge kills, 140 of it weak to fighting, 130 of its plus Giovanni, so that's really good. What are some other ones people have been talking about? Kabutops drains HP equal to how much damage it deals. So right now it deals 50 and drains 50, but with one of these guys it's dealing 70 and draining 70 for 1 energy. And for 2 of these guys, it's dealing 90 and draining 90. And it actually has a lot of HP, Kabutops, so it's like 140 HP or something like that. So this card is going to make that card better. There are some others. What are the ones that benefit immediately here? I guess Gliscor. Technically Hitmontop. Technically Regirock. Like, everything technically benefits from it, but the ones that actually really appreciate it. Granados and Rapardos, big time. Itself. I laughed at these cards. We got Hippopotas. This is, I think this is exactly Rhyhorn. This is like Genetic Apex Rhyhorn. You got 80 HP, which I think is the same number. You got 60 damage, which is definitely the same number. 3 energy, same number. Weak to Grass, same number. Retreat cost 3, same number. So we just have Rhyhorn again. Hippowdon is just a better Rhydon, though. That thing was, I think, I don't remember the health. It was 120 or 140. But it did 4 energies for 100 damage. This thing is doing 4 energies for 120 damage. And they both have retreat cost 4 and weakness to grass. So, Rhydon users on Suicide Watch, Hippowdon is just better. Still looks like an absolutely horrible card. I would never run this in a million years. I'd never run Hippopotas in a million years. I wish they did something with sand. Like, if they just made it so, like, non-fighting types take 10 damage per turn as, like, an ability here. That would be pretty fun. They should have done that. Can't believe they didn't. We already looked at Gallade, so we've looked at all the fighting types now. Murkrow, big fan. Bog standard. It's weak to electric, which is kind of interesting. That's the flying type. Pretty cool. And then we have Honchkrow. So they are going with the 2 retreat cost. In promotional footage, this card showed up in the Japanese with a retreat cost of 1, and then showed up in the US version with a retreat cost of 2. And everyone was like, wait a sec, it's not consistent. I guess 2 is the one they settled on. This is a retreat cost 2 mon. 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, so you can hit the active Pokemon. Lumineon has a caveat that you can only hit bench Pokemon. Seadra doesn't, and this is another mon that doesn't. You can hit the mon right in front of you for 50, but you can also hit bench Pokemon for 50. Hitting the bench is very powerful. So this is going to be quite a good card. I like this card a lot. This is probably going to be used on dark decks. We got Sneasel. Flip 2 coins, 20 damage for each heads. So this is almost a bog standard card, but you do have the possibility of 40 or the possibility of 0. Weak to grass, which is pretty funny to represent the bug weakness, I suppose. And then we have Weavile EX. We don't have a regular Weavile. Cute art. Really interesting card here. Only a retreat cost of 1. Only an energy cost of 1. Scratching Nails. Opponent's active Pokemon has damage on it. It does 40 more damage. Not very much power on this EX card. You wish it was a little bit stronger. But notably, this is a card that activates as early as turn 3. This is another card where you benefit from going first. Because you can play your Sneasel turn 1 and then evolve it turn 3 and use Scratching Nails right away. Unfortunately, you're only going to be doing 30 damage on that initial attack, but that's not like that's horrible. And then you're doing 70 damage every attack after that, and you also have quite a high HP total and can retreat very easily. So this is going to be a very good card, and it has some interesting synergy with other cards. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are thinking about like Greninja, and just being able to get your little donk, your little 20 damage donk off, and then Weavile hits for 70 immediately. But that's not going to be important in the early game. But that would be a good partner. What's another one? Rocky Helmet, I guess. You could put a Rocky Helmet on your Sneasel, and then once it evolves, it's already ready to hit 70 damage. Kind of nice. I don't know. There's potential here. The damage output is not insane for an EX, but it's good. It's an early game EX. Really interesting card. We've been waiting for a Dark type EX card for a long time, and now we finally got one. And actually, I think we have another. Yeah, we do. Poochyena? What's it grabbing? I don't know what it's grabbing. It's cute, though. Is it like looting someone's picnic basket? I don't know. I can't tell. It's cute, though. Bog standard card. Weakness to grass again. Kind of funny. I don't know why we keep doing that. Seems pretty common. Mightyena. Darkness Fang for 60. That's pretty good damage. Again, there's other cards that do 70 for this damage output. I mean, for this energy cost. 90 HP is not amazing, but no, it's all right. You know, most cards like this have 80, 90, or 100. So you'd like 100, but you know, you'll settle for 90. 90 is okay. Weak to grass again, retreat cost of only 1. Not an amazing card, but a good early game attacker. Stunky. 70 HP is good. 10 damage is horrible. Weak to fighting, to represent its ground weakness, I guess. Look, it's like lifting a leg. It's like getting ready to blast you. Gun Tank. This one I thought was lifting a leg, but it's not. It's just on uneven terrain. Poison Gas. Guaranteed poison, 50 damage. I think we had a card just like that right at the beginning, right? 50 damage, 2 energies. What was it? Oh, it was Roserade. Okay, so we got that again with Skuntank. Retreat cost 2 is not very impressive. Don't love that. The HP is good. This is kind of just better than Mightyena, I feel. Because this is already doing 60 damage with your guaranteed poison, but then the poison stays, so it sets up stuff like Venoshock, extra damage on if the opponent ends the turn without switching, stuff like that. Spiritomb. 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That looks like a fun card. That would have nice synergy with Cyrus. I keep on bringing up Cyrus, and you guys must be so confused. I assume that hits the bench Pokemon. I mean, the active Pokemon, too. It doesn't say so, but, you know, each Pokemon sounds like it would include that. But you'd think it would have a 10 here. Looks like a pretty okay card. 1 energy is nice. The problem is you're going to be getting damage on everything, which is awesome, but you're never going to kill anything with this. And you're not even really setting up kills. Not amazing, I think. I think that's probably not going to be used. It'd be funny if Cynthia worked with this. I mean, she has a Spiritomb. It'd be funny if you got plus 50 damage on this. Does 60 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Yeah, that would never happen. Scorpy. The first time I ran into a Scorpy, I thought it was a shiny and I caught it, and then I found out the Scorpies are just that color. 70 HP, 30 damage for 2 energies. Not amazing. 2 retreat cost on a basic sucks. This is not a good card. But Drapion determines whether it's good or not. Cross Poison. This is a fun card. I would run this. 3 energies is horrible. And I think we still don't have dark energy acceleration. Flip 4 coins. This attack does 40 damage for each heads. If at least 2 of them are heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Um, Most of the time, you're going to be getting 2, 3, or 4 heads. Very rarely will you get 1 or 0. So you're going to be getting that poison most of the time. And then the possible damage output is very high. You're averaging 80 damage. You're going as low as 0, as high as 160. That's... And you know, I shouldn't even say it can't even technically do 80 damage because it's going to be doing 90 with poison, or like 130 with poison, or 170 with poison. Those are nice thresholds actually. The fact that you're doing it's actually a big deal that you're doing 130 and not 120 because you poison the opponent. That's good. This looks like a fun card. I hate how energy hungry it is. 3 retreat cost and 3 energy to attack sucks. But 120 HP is nice, and the attack actually looks very good. Krogunk. It looks like he's recording a sick rap video. Group beatdown. Flip a coin for each Pokemon you have in play. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. This is a little bit like Beat Up from Sneasel way back in the day. In fact, I think it's just the same, but benches are smaller in this game, so it's probably not going to be nearly as broken. 2 energy to use it is kind of annoying, but the damage output is potentially very high. So it says each Pokemon you have in play, so it's counting itself. So you can, even if you don't have a bench, you can still use that and get a coin flip for 20 damage, which is not very impressive. But up to 80 damage and averaging 40 if you have a full bench. That's pretty nice. And then Toxicroak actually does the same thing. Like the exact same attack, except it's doing double damage. So we're averaging 80 and possibility of 160 with a full bench. This seems kind of good. I don't know. Doesn't sound amazing, but it sounds like it's got potential. Darkrai, Dark Void. The opponent's now asleep. This would be really good if Dark-type energy acceleration exists, but I don't think it does. So, doesn't look that good. We got a weakness to grass again. Guaranteed sleep is nice. I said this didn't look that good, but this actually does look quite good. I just wish it was... If it was 2 energy, this would be a great card. But the fact that it's 3 energy really hurts it. Darkrai doing Darkrai things. 2 energy retreat is not amazing. We got a Darkrai EX, and it looks like a really good card. Whenever you attach a dark energy from your energy zone to this Pokemon, deal 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This has an amusing synergy with Weavile, because Weavile only needs a single energy to be fully activated. And it does extra damage for each area if the opponent's already damaged. So basically, if you kill a card with this, a new full HP Mon is going to be coming in, right? On paper. And then your next turn, you stick an energy onto Darkrai, which does 20 damage to the opponent, and then the opponent is considered already damaged. So this guy is going to be swinging for 70, and the opponent took 20 as well, so it's 90 damage per turn. And plus you're also building up a Darkrai, which has an attack. So really cute little synergy, and they're probably going to be best friends. People are going to make decks with both of them like crazy. The attack is okay. Dark Prism, 80 damage for 3 energies. The fact that you're going to be, like, of course you're going to be sticking energies onto this for just the Nightmare Aura. So you're not even going to be thinking about the fact that you're building up Dark Prism. It's just icing on the cake that you're also building up Dark Prism. And that's going to be nice, you know, once your Weavile dies or whatever. It's like here, maybe Darkrai can come in and clean up. Looks like a really good card. It does require dark energies to be put on Darkrai, so you can't just put it on any deck. Metal type. We got Skarmory. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached, this attack does 30 more damage. So maybe like you put the cape on this guy so he's got 100 HP and then he's doing 50 damage per attack for 1 energy. I don't know, seems alright. Doesn't seem that great. Weak to Electric, that's like the game's haha. 1 retreat cost is quite good. This looks like a pretty good mon. I can see this being used. I think Pokemon tools are pretty good, so, you know, I like it. Registeel, confirmed. We do have all of them. Bit energy hungry, but we do now have steel type energy acceleration, so I'll give them that. 110 HP is pretty good. 90 damage is very high. It's like Stonjourner, but unlike Stonjourner, it has energy acceleration, so it's better than Stonjourner. Weak to fire. Most steel types are weak to fire. Skarmory is weird. We got another fossil. It looks 50 damage is okay for 2 energy. Was it Cranidos is doing 50 for 1, so I got all happy. 100 HP is quite good. Two retreat cost is not amazing, but you would expect a retreat cost like that from a mon like this. What did they do with Bastiodon is the real question. Guarded Grill. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attack, flip a coin. Bro, hold up. I didn't realize this is that crazy. Holy shit. This Pokemon takes minus 100 damage from that attack? That's insane. Most attacks do less than 100 damage. That's basically like this Mon only takes damage from half of all attacks. I guess if you have something really strong, like a Celebi with like 8 energies attached to it, you know, it's probably going to kill you through that. But that is insane. That's really good. That's a very good effect. That's really good. I don't know. I'm really impressed by that. That could just activate several turns in a row and just like the opponent just completely fails to hurt you. I don't know. This looks like a really good win con card, if I'm being honest. And that's active. That's an ability, so you don't even have to do anything. This could not even have enough energy, and you could still like be dodging attacks like crazy while you're sticking more metal energies on it. Retreat cost of 4 sucks. 80 damage is pretty good. It's workable. That ability is like the new best ability in the game, I feel. Minus 100? I feel like it should have been like minus 30 or something. Why is it minus 100? That's insane. Bastiodon really looks like a killer to me. I feel like we're going to be seeing it a lot. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Remendam Trash Cloak. Iron Head. Flip coins until you get tails. This attack does 30 more damage for each head. So we're guaranteed 50. This is just a better Lickitung almost. And then we're going to be doing 80, then 110, whatever, with every head. I like that it has a minimum damage. That's already very nice. That's like much better than the effects of Lickitung and Eevee. For all the other cards that are flip coins until you get tails. I do not like the flip coins until you get tails premise. I wish there were fewer cards that use that. Maybe ideally 0. But whatever. Interesting card, probably okay. Probably the best Wormadam we've seen. Bronzor? Not amazing. Not amazing. Bronzong. It looks like a real thing someone made out of clay or whatever. Guard press during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. That's much more reasonable than Bastiodon, don't you think? 120 HP is good. 60 damage is okay. Minus 20 is really good. 3 energies is not ideal. 3 energies to retreat is not ideal. This card looks mid. Probopass we already looked at. Dialga EX, new poster child. Metallic Turbo is just insane. This is the new energy acceleration that they added, besides, what, Manaphy? And it's good. Take 2 metal energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. There's no caveat that says it has to be a metal type. It can be anything. You can stick energies onto anything. You can stick energies onto a Pidgeot EX, for example. Something that requires colorless energy. That's awesome. That is really awesome. The fact that you're also doing 30 damage while doing this is amazing. You could be sticking energies onto another Dialga EX. I mean, why not, right? Looks really good to me. Just get this up in the early game. Hide behind your 150 HP. Get some energies on it. Start using Metallic Turbo. Then the nanosecond the opponent finally manages to kill this after they took 30 damage like 4 times. All of a sudden you're bringing in your Melmetal, which has like a gazillion energy on it. And you're just punching them in the face repeatedly. One thing is you have to put 2 energy onto one Mon instead of being able to choose what you put energy on, like Moltres. Heavy Impact, it's not that strong. Probably this thing you'll always be trying to get 2 energy on this, so the retreat cost of 2 is not that bad. Probably you won't even be using X Speed and Leaf. I mean, you will just to keep the energy on it, so you can potentially bring it in later in Heavy Impact. This is going to be on every metal team from here on out, I feel. I feel like this is a really good card. And a lot of metal cards need a lot of energy, so I can see this guy kind of... But he's also going to be used on like normal decks and stuff, I feel. We got Heatran sticking to the freaking ceiling. It's always doing that for some reason. This thing is like more of a spider than a frog. 20 damage to itself sucks. 110 damage is pretty good. Retreat cost of 3 sucks. 120 HP is pretty good. With energy acceleration, I can see this doing something and not nothing. Like, I guess it's a good ally for Dialga there. It's cute anyway. It looks happy that it stuck to the ceiling. That's all our metal types. Overall, metal in a much better place because of Bastiodon, because of Dialga. I guess because of Heatran. I thought there were other improvements to metal. These cards are okay. I would actually be running Bisharp in a metal deck, believe it or not, if those are the cards we're going to be working with. I need something fast in metal type. What's fast in metal type? Skarmory? Um, that's it. That's it. Just Skarmory. And then also uh, I guess Mawile and Bisharp. Those are the only remotely fast steel type cards, metal type cards. Not ideal. We got Gibble. Good old Gibble. Using Gnaw. They revealed this card pretty early, and they didn't show us what color it was, what energy. So I looked up Garchomp in the tabletop TCG, and it turns out it basically always uses water fighting. And when you know it, this line uses water fighting. First one, you can use either one, because it's colorless, that's nice. Gabite needs both, which is unfortunate, but 60 damage is pretty good. 90 HP is okay. And then we have Garchomp with Reckless Shearing. You must discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw a card. So you can discard your useless cards and draw new cards, which are hopefully not useless. It helps. That's very helpful, I think. Only needs the 2 energies that Gabite needs. So that's really nice. Dragon Claw, cannon move right there. One thing that's kind of cool is this works with Cynthia. We saw Cynthia earlier, does plus 50 damage. So this guy's actually doing 150 damage with Dragon Claw. I think any deck where you ran Garchomp, any deck where you ran Togekiss, you would absolutely run Cynthia. 150 is a very nice threshold. Being able to kill a lot of things in one hit. Like you could kill an opposing Garchomp in one hit. I like how little energy this needs, but I don't think there's a way to stick a water energy or a fighting energy on this other than running both of them, which is unfortunate. So once again, you've got to use it on like dual type decks. Excuse me. But there's a lot of fighting cards that you can actually get away with using other energies, and there's a lot of water cards where you can get away with using other energies. Like you could, you only need a single water energy for the Greninja line, so you can absolutely run Greninja in water fighting. Would be good. I don't know. We got a new Lickitung. I was immediately tempted to say it's ugly, and I was also immediately tempted to say it's cute. And now I'm in this flux state where I can't decide which one it is. I guess it's cute. It's kind of horrible. Tongue Slap, 50 damage, 3 energies is absolutely miserable. Really bad. Really bad. I spent an entire video making fun of Golett, but this is a worse card than Golett. Well, it's better because it has a retreat cost of 2 instead of 3, but Golett at least had 90 HP, and this thing only has 80. And it's spending the same amount of energy to do the same amount of damage. So, huge, docked a lot of points for being so energy hungry. If this thing was 2 energy for 50 damage, it would be okay, and still not good. We got Licky Licky EX. Colorless is in a really weird state where, like, being colorless is very powerful, so they have to make colorless mons not amazing, like what they did with fucking Wigglytuff EX or whatever. I said that, but Pidgeot EX is actually just a great card, just straight up. But it's a stage 2, so you would hope for it would be pretty good. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 40 more damage for each heads. Looks really good. I do not like how much energy this thing needs. That is a huge downside. That is a lot of energy. And again, we only have exactly one form of energy acceleration that works with normal types, and it's Dialga. But, average damage of 140, right? And then, possibility of 180. It's irrelevant to say higher numbers than that because 180 is already going to be like 1-hit KOing every card in the game. 1/4 chance of 1-hit KOing even win cons. And then probably this is going to be 100, even if you get tails immediately, it's probably going to be one-shotting most things. The problem is, this being your win con is super whack. I feel like by the time this is built up, like the opponent will probably have something that, I don't know, that's a lot of HP. You got a high average damage. I can see this being pretty good, honestly. I can see this being a good card. We got a new EV, so now we got 4. I believe this is the attack that the original TCG EV had, actually. I think it's not quite the same, but it's close. 1 energy for 10 or 30. It's technically a lower average damage than the 20 damage EV. We got the bog standard type and health and weakness and retreat cost. Porygon Beam for 20, 60 HP. I think the other Porygon also did 20 damage and also let you look at the top card of your deck. So maybe the other Porygon is better. I think you wouldn't run this one, you would run the other one so you could look at the top card of your deck. Like, that's not useless. I bashed on it for being a bad card, but I bashed on it for being a bad card. It's not even a bad card. But I bashed on it for being a bad card because it didn't have an evolution, and now it does. So now we got Porygon 2 for Sharpen for 30. We got another card that benefits from going first, I guess, technically. And then Cute Art. It's got Cute Art. We got Porygon Z. This is a mon that made a lot of fuss when it was revealed. Everyone was like, wow, this is going to be really good. Um, the opponent produces a random energy type next turn. So if they need a grass energy and there's a 1 in 8 chance they actually get the grass energy, and there's a 7 in 8 chance they get something weird. They get like a fighting energy or dark energy or something like that. You can play around that a little bit because a lot of attacks require colorless energy too. So let's say your guy requires 2 grass and 1 colorless energy, on your bench, you can still put the energy on it, and you got the colorless one. But this looks very disruptive because even switching out won't stop the opponent from. This effect still works if you switch out because they'll just buggy beam your other mon. So this can be insanely good if you don't have something set up already. This can really stop you from setting new things up. Interesting card. Probably going to be too slow to really make a difference, but I can see this potentially being nice. This card has very disruptive potential. We're almost done here. We got Apom, bog standard card. Nothing to say. Cute art. Ambipom, not an amazing effect, but it is very fast. It's averaging 40 damage, but the potential for 80 is very attractive. Like, Rapidash is a goat because it can hit 70 on turn 3. This guy can hit 80 on turn 3. The downside is it's only hitting 80 1/4 of the time. It's doing 0 1/4 of the time, so that's not amazing. We got Starly. This effect is unique to Starly, I think. I think there's nothing else that can do that in the game right now. Before doing damage, discard all Pokemon tools from your opponent's active Pokemon. There are only 3 tools in the game right now, I think. They all got shown. I think they all got leaked pretty early, and then we thought there would be more, but there aren't, I think. 20 damage is okay. 50 HP sucks. This is exactly like Pidgey, except unlike Pidgey, it has a good effect. Mythical Islands Pidgey. Retreat cost of 1 is standard. Weakness to electric is standard for a flying type. Disrupting. If you're running Staraptor, I can see you keeping the other Starly in the back to potentially get the opponent to discard an item. That's quite interesting. You can also, because it's only 1 energy, you can deploy this. The opponent might not even know you have the Starly, and then you play the Starly and you use Pluck. You retreat into the Starly and you use Pluck all in the same turn, and the opponent's item is just destroyed. I don't think any of the items are good enough to warrant that strategy, but it is novel that you can do that. And this works in any deck, so that's kind of interesting. But you'll probably die. It's only a 50 HP basic. We got Manaphy again. We got Staravia. Wing attack for 2 energies for 40 damage. Not horrible. Not amazing. Just pretty ordinary. Staraptor. Clutch. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat, so we got a similar effect to Galvantula and Arbok. Except Galvantula is doing, 70, and Arbok's doing 60. This guy's doing 80. A lot of HP. Decent damage. 3 energy cost is not amazing, but you're a stage 2, so it's not too hard to hit that number. But of course, if it was cheaper, it'd be really nice because you could put the energy on something else that turn. Looks like a pretty good card, but I think it's not going to be... The trapping effect is not going to be a huge deal. It's just going to be nice. It's an interesting card. I like trapping effects a lot, but that one looks too slow to activate. Galvantula and Arbok are much faster because you only need a single evolution and 2 energies. This card got leaked early, and it's a pretty funny card. Cuts your opponent's HP in half. The absolute max damage that's probably going to do is like 80 or something, realistically. And usually it's not even going to be doing that. It's going to be doing like 30 probably a lot of the time, or like 40. And then it's half HP rounded down. So that sounds like you can't even kill something with it. Like you can't kill a 10 HP mon with it. Interesting card. 2 energy to do that. Like it seems like, oh man, I can knock my opponent's like Celebi from 130 down to 70. It's like that's not actually that useful. That's just the same as a 68 damage attack, except it doesn't work with Giovanni. Pretty funny card, but probably not a good card. Bafael, same energy requirement, but actually does 60 damage, like guaranteed. So it's like you're hitting 130 HP Pokemon or 120 HP Pokemon. 110 health is kind of good. 2 retreat cost is workable. Weak to fighting. They could have made this weak to electric if they wanted to. They could have made this a water type if they wanted to. It's a water type. Now you know. Baniri, it's got splash. It's pretty funny they did that. I understand why they did that. In Japanese, the move splash is called jump around, and that's why it's a normal type, and that's why it's learned by Pokemon like Spoink and Hoppip. It's learned by Pokemon that jump around. It is in fact learned by Buniri. Buniri canonically learns this move. Um, I'm glad that it can hurt the opponent at all. It's just a worse version of every other basic Pokemon in the game since it does 10 damage instead of 20, and it's also colorless, so you're not super effective with anything. Lopunny, this is kind of good. 90 HP is pretty decent. 1 energy to attack is great, and 20 HP to a base, the active Pokemon, 20 HP to a bench Pokemon. You'd rather have 30 HP or 40 HP to either one. No, I like that you're attacking the bench Pokemon. I think it's better. Even if you attacked 40 damage on the mon in front of you, that would be worse than what it does. This is really cool that you can attack bench Pokemon with this. Um, Probably a card no one will run, but not a bad card, I feel. Pretty interesting. I like it. Damn, why'd they add so many normal types? Glameow. This card is, or not this card, but this Pokemon is very famous for being trapped in Pokemon Pearl. It's like never been obtainable in any Pokemon game except Pearl and Brilliant, uh, Brilliant Pearl, right? That's the name of the game. Yeah. Anyway, pose, flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. I think there's another card that's like this. Technically, Mankey's Focus Fist is this, but 50 damage. But this is a colorless, so whatever. I like that it's got a little Lumineon toy in the art. That's nice. Um, it's 60 HP and an average damage of 20 is pretty normal, but I don't like the inconsistency. Maybe I do. Perogly. Interrupt. 3 energies. If your opponent reveals their hand, choose a card you find there and shuffle it into your opponent's deck. That's obnoxious. This looks like an obnoxious card. I think Persian just destroys a random card, right? It's very rare to have the opponent be forced to discard cards. There's very few cards in the game that do that. This one's just shuffling it back to the deck, which is, that's a good effect. Like maybe the opponent has a Sabrina and you don't want them to have that. Maybe they have an evolution. You don't want them to have the evolution. Being able to force them to shuffle a card back into the deck is pretty good. What's funny is their deck could be burnt out, and this would presumably still work, but then they would just draw the card as soon as they got their turn. So we got a new Chatot. We already had one. This one is average damage, what, 30, I guess. Pretty interesting card. For 1 energy, that's not too bad. It doesn't have like a super interesting effect like the other Chatot has, but it is notable. This card has like a 1 in 8 chance of doing 60 damage turn 1 or turn 2. That can instantly win a lot of games, I suppose. I like that we can see Chatot's weird musical note head in full form in this picture. Um, I would never run this. If Chatot had an evolution, it would have potential. We actually do have Regigigas. I didn't notice that. Fan Rotom. We got a normal type Rotom. I guess for the flying type, Flip a coin. If heads, put your opponent's active Pokemon into their hand. That's quite hilarious if it's an evolved Pokemon, because it means that they've got to do all the evolutions again. That's going to take several turns. So another candidate for the funniest Pokemon. Also, if you don't know, this actually counts as a win if it's the opponent's last Mon, which makes it even more hilarious. That counts as having no Pokemon in the field, which counts as losing. So I would like to see a replay at some point in the future of someone fan rotoming their opponent's last Mon into their hand and winning on the spot. But even if it's if it's a stage 2, that's also quite annoying. The fact that it does no damage is pretty bad. I think this is probably going to be better than Aerodactyl, because you don't have to go through Old Amber, but it doesn't look like a good card that's worth using or anything like that. Weakness to Electric is funny. Regigigas. More damage. equal to the damage this Pokemon has on it. That's quite interesting. So you can have up to 130 damage on you, which means you're dealing up to 180 damage with Raging Hammer. And very unlikely the opponent's going to take you from 140 to 0, so probably you're going to get at least one attack off when you're wounded. And then 50 damage as a base number is not even horrible. The fact that it is so ridiculously energy hungry is unattractive, but the effect is quite good, I think. Very interesting card. But the opponent's going to try and, what, like 2-hit KO you? Like, let's say they get 70 or 80. You're going to be doing, what, 120 or 130? Which is, pretty good damage, but might not kill them. We got the Skull Fossil for Cranidos. It's exactly like every other fossil. We have an Armor Fossil. Here we go. Some new trainer cards. This is an item, so you can use an infinite number of them per turn, theoretically. Choose a Pokemon in your hand and switch it with a random Pokemon in your deck. I can see this actually seeing quite a lot of use. Like, let's say you got a Magikarp deck, and you got you got two Magikarp, and you drew both of them in the early game, but you didn't draw a Druddigon or something like that to hide behind. It's like, okay, now what? You play your Pokemon Communication, you put away your Magikarp, and you draw something else. Depending on deck archetypes, I think this is probably going to be really good. Unfortunately, right at the start of the game, you're forced to deploy a Pokemon in your opening hand. So even if your opening hand doesn't have the right mons, you've got to still like do some retreating to get the right mons. But I can see this seeing play. This seems pretty good to me. We got a tool, Giant Cape. Plus 20 HP to whatever you put it on. Objectively very useful. I presume that also increases the HP cap. That's the only way that would make sense to me. So, let's say you got your little Skarmory with 80 HP and you put your Giant Cape on it, and then it's, you got a cute mental image of the Skarmory wearing the cape, and it's a 100 HP Skarmory. I can see this seeing a ton of play. That just sounds good. Just being able to give any mon plus 20 HP. All of a sudden you got your 150 HP Celebi. Seems kind of good, I don't know. Rocky Helmet, new Pokemon tool. Every mon in the game becomes Druddigon. If you get hit, the opponent takes 20 damage. It doesn't seem to specify that the attacking mon has to be an active mon. So I wonder if what's that? Greninja attacked from the bench, if it would get hit by the Rocky Helmet or not. Because it just says if it's damaged by an attack from the opponent's Pokemon, do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. That sounds like it could be Greninja. I don't know. I don't know what the... We'll have to see how that works mechanically. A lot of people are saying, what if you took this and put it on Druddigon, and then it's doing 40 damage every time you touch it? I think that's not horrible, but I think that's missing the point. The only reason people even run Druddigon in the first place is because it damages things when you touch it. You can put this on anything. There are Pokemon that are much more annoying to damage if touched. Like, imagine Palkia or Dialga wearing this thing. Palkia just sits there turn 1 and it forces you to attack it over and over with your low HP, low damage mons in the early game, while it's hounding you for 30 every turn. But now it's hounding you for 50 every turn because not only is it attacking you for 30, but you're taking 20 damage from its helmet. That's insanely obnoxious. And if you just choose not to attack it, it's sitting there with 150 health. That seems really good. Rocky Helmet seems really good on any high HP mon. Snorlax with Rocky Helmet, I don't know. We got Lumberry. It says at the end of each turn, the Pokemon this card is attached to is affected by any special conditions. It recovers from all of them. So all of them is kind of notable, because you can actually be... Statuses can stack in this game. You can be, for example, paralyzed and asleep at the same time. This is a real thing. Look it up. Try it. Use a Hypno deck. It cures all of them, and then you discard it. So Pokemon tools are kind of there for life in the tabletop game. Like, once you attach a Pokemon tool, you can't take it off. And then you've been seeing in this expansion, there are mons that do more damage to mons with Pokemon tools attached. But this is a Pokemon tool that actually can leave, and they just did that so that you can't just, use a Lumberry over and over. That would be busted. But it's after any turn, not just after your turn. So you can get put to sleep, and then the Lumberry activates, and you wake up. I can see this seeing some use, just because sleep and poison and all this stuff seems like it's more common. I don't think it's going to see as much use as the Rocky Helmet. The Rocky Helmet looks like the winner to me, and maybe the cape as well is objectively quite useful. Cyrus, This is probably the most anticipated card in the game. Switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has damage on it to the active spot. So the really obvious use for this is if you beat something up, the opponent's going to try and retreat it so you don't get a point. You can Cyrus it right back into the field. The obvious weakness of this is if it doesn't do anything if your opponent has no wounded Pokemon. And then the obvious synergy with this is if you have things that attack benched Pokemon, you can force them in. And especially, there's a lot of cards, let's say Articuno EX, that hit the entire field. Like Articuno EX does not 10 damage to all the base, I mean all the bench Pokemon. All of a sudden you can use this, you can use Cyrus to pull, you get to choose which one you bring in if multiple bench Pokemon are damaged. So that is very strong, being able to, like Sabrina just forces the opponent to switch it all. But if the opponent has like two, what do you call those things, Druddigons and one Magikarp or something like that, you can force in the Magikarp specifically if it's hurt. So very fun, anticipated card. I think it'll probably be worse than Sabrina in most decks, but there'll be decks where it's way better than Sabrina, and I can absolutely see someone running Sabrina in this. Maybe one copy of each, or even two copies of this of each. Team Galactic Grunt. One random Glameow, Stunky, or Croagunk into your hand. Doesn't have to be deployed right away. Can go straight to your hand. Glameow looks funny, but not that good. Stunky didn't look that good. Croagunk looked okay. I like that you can draw specific basics, but I don't know. One thing that's kind of cool is you don't need to be running all of these. You could only run Croagunk in your deck, for example, and this would just draw specifically a Croagunk. It's like a Pokeball that only works on Croagunk. Cynthia we already talked about. Volkner we already talked about. Dawn looks quite fun. It moves one energy from bench to active. You can't move from active to bench, so you can't like have a Mon that's about to die and try and save energy from it. But that seems like quite a good effect, I feel. You can use X speed to switch out and then play this to move the energy that you saved using the X speed onto your new active Mon and just be ready to attack right away. I think this will probably see a lot of play. This looks like a pretty good card to me. Mars, I can't believe they put my waifu into TCG Pocket. That's really cool. Your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and draws a card for each of their remaining points needed to win. So this is red card on steroids. At worst, this is red card, except it's a supporter, so it's more restrictive. But like, if the opponent has 2 points, they have to shuffle away their hand and draw one card. And they can have 2 points if they killed one of your early game like EX cards. Like, let's say they killed your Weavile that you deployed very early, or they killed your Palkia or something that you deployed very early. What's an EX card that's deployed early and you kind of expect it to die? I don't know. Maybe your first Mewtwo EX if you're running 2. Maybe your first Pikachu EX if you're running 2. Anyway, if they kill your early EX card, you play Mars and they have to put away their whole hand and draw one card. That seems kind of good to me. I don't know. Probably going to be less impactful late in the game, where you've kind of used and gotten most of your cards. I don't know. That's an interesting one. I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than red card, and I think red card is not useless. Okay, we've got to the rare art, so let's just look at all the pictures of the cool art. Here is Tangrowth. Looks like it's about to have a bath. I don't know. I don't envy the person that has to wash a Tangrowth. Here is a freaking Combee, not even a Vespiquen. That's beautiful art. It's very colorful. Happy little Combee. I guess this is Carnivine in its natural state, in its normal environment. It's funny to think that Carnivine is a what do you call it, Venus flytrap or whatever. So like, you know, this is it. This is what it does. It just sits there, and then if something crawls into its mouth, it bites. I don't know. Shaman sniffing flowers. That's good. I like that. That's heavy. Mamoswine with a swine up on its head. This is my new favorite card. Just looking at it. Wow. Great. Amazing. Really nice art of Gastrodon. Once again, we got both of them. That's cool. Completely illegible text, but it's so beautiful I don't even mind. Manaphy, it sure looks happy to exist. I like all the different environments being represented here. We got the Shellos, we got the Luminion, we got the Buizel, we got the Staravia, I think. Shink's looking cuter than I ever could have imagined. This is like a house Pokemon? I didn't realize that. Are there people that just own this, like you know, like a cat? Rotom. I think this one was shown earlier than the leaks. You got to see all the different Rotom forms doing stuff. That's great. Drifloon. I don't know what that thing is on the bottom. It's like an activity book or something. I don't know, stand book. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Straight up can't tell. It's a planner. You got your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing. I don't know. Ah, yes, I get it. And that's the research building. That's the this is where Drifloon is encountered in the actual game of Diamond and Pearl. It shows up in front of that building on Fridays or something like that. So this is someone looking at their calendar and they've got the Drifloon stamp every Friday because they come and look at this Drifloon every Friday. Or maybe they go and catch one every Friday or something like that. Who knows? That's nice. It's a nice reference there to um, Diamond and Pearl. Um, Mesprit. I like that it has rare art. Do the other ones? No, just this one. Well, this is the only one that's worth discussing because that effect is quite interesting. I don't think it's good, but you know, I can see someone trying. Cute art. Giratina looks pretty cool. We got Mesprit on it. Actually, we have what looks like Yuxi too. I'm sure. Oh, I see his elf. He's on the top left. He's there. Do those mons have even a single thing to do with Giratina? I don't remember. Cresselia visiting a child. That's beautiful. All right, what did I say was my new favorite card art? Yeah, this is my new favorite card art. That's amazing. Cool little lunar duck sitting out in the window there. Imagine being visited by this thing. She's got a Clefairy doll. What looks like a a Starly doll too. It's hard to even tell what's going on in this picture, but it's so nice. I'm jealous of the Pokemon universe. I wish I lived there. Um, Rhyperior is here, I guess. This is, you know, this is the funniest card in the game, and now you've got a funny art for it. It's not amazing. Lucario, this one was revealed, not even leaked. They just showed it off, I think. You got all your cool fighting types coming out to attack, and what's funny is Medicham, I think, isn't even in the game yet. So what's he doing there? Looks cool, though. Hippopotas of all things. This looks a lot like the Splendid art, actually. We got the male and the female hippopotases. Okay. You know, sure. It sucks that you only have rare art of this one. Like, you're just going to evolve this into a regular Hippowdon? Whatever. I can't even tell this is supposed to be Spiritomb because there's so much shit going on in this picture. I see, Lucas down in the bottom left there. That's kind of cool. I guess Spiritomb is coming out of the rock like it does. It's like upside down. It's like, you know, the perspective is all screwy. Cool. Krogunk, playing a crane game for itself. Weird. But funny and cool. I like the idea of the Team Plasma or Team Galactic members going to play crane games in their casinos or whatever. What Mon is even here? Heatran? I see the Macargos. I see the Skarmories. I see the Rhydons. Heatran's going down. Everyone else is going up. There must be magma coming up, and everyone's like, oh, I gotta get out of there. And Heatran's like, no, no, give me that. Garchomp, sleeping like a cat or a dog. This is, of all the art I could have ever pictured for Garchomp, this is like not what I would have pictured. I would have not pictured Garchomp in a library, sleeping on a couch. The couch does look a little fucked up, and I know that that was Garchomp that did that. I know he's gonna get like he's gonna get in trouble as soon as his owner gets home. Staraptor, really great art. It's unfortunate the Staraptor is a little ugly. If you like Pompadours, it has one, but you know. Bidoof, this card was shown. This card was leaked early. Glenmeow, looking pretty, looking smug, very smug. It already has a picture of itself, but it can look at itself any day of the year in this beautiful mirror. Good art. Really good art. They got a luxury ball or something like that on display there. That's nice. That's probably Gleamio's Pokeball. We got Regigigas with the whole squad pulling up. That's nice. Do like that. You know, it's big. It's big. These are all just gonna be, you know, big. Do I like any of them? I'm a big Miss Magius enjoyer. Weavile looks a little smug. I do enjoy that. It's a nice looking Weavile. I don't know. You got your cool rare art Cyrus. I don't like his face. You got the rare art Grunt. I don't see that card being used. Cynthia will be used in particular decks. Yo, you got your rare art Mars. There's someone who's gonna spend thousands of dollars trying to get two of these. We got rainbow art. That one's pretty good. This one's he's riding Sun Wukong. He's riding the Nimbus or whatever. That's great. I like that. Nice little reference. Pachirisu doing Pachirisu things. You can see its fur, which is just a little weird, but cool. Miss Magius, absolutely amazing card art. My new favorite. Is that a heart? Is it doing some kind of heart thing here? I think so. Well, this Pokemon, I don't think this thing has anything to do with love, but I could be entirely wrong. I don't know my card lore. I mean my Miss Magius lore. Yo, he's standing in the water. That's pretty cool. Um, what are they hunting? Are they hunting a Swinub? That's horrible. The Swinub's gonna die. I don't like that. Swinub is like my this is gore of my comfort character. Um, terrifying. We got Darkrai looming over sleeping kid with his sleeping ferret and his Magikarp plush. That's I don't like this. This is just terrifying. I don't like this either. It's Licky Licky eating food from like the third floor. It's theft. I'm just showing us theft. Extremely badass fucking art of Palkia. I guess this is supposed to represent its powers over space or something by making weird, freaking crazy staircases all over everything. Whatever. Um, okay, so this is supposed to represent time, just a landscape. It's nice art, but it feels very different from Palkia's. And then we got a gold Palkia and a gold Dialga. Um, there's definitely some power creep. I think there's not actually that much. There are cards that are going to be used in existing decks. Tools are going to be everywhere. The new trainers are going to be everywhere. Um, I think that there aren't that many new stars of the show in terms of cards. Like you're still going to be using cards from the previous expansions in every deck. I don't think there's any like I can't see anything here where you're gonna not be using. You're gonna be using exclusively new cards. Like there's still so many cards that are gonna see a ton of play. Snavy's still gonna see a ton of play. Celebi's still gonna see a ton of play. Greninja's still gonna see a ton of play. Something like Starmie or Moltres, Ralts, and Gardevoir. There's so many cards that are just not even gonna be touched. But there are a lot of Shrugmons from the previous games that were already not great that are probably even worse now. There is some power creep. Some cards are gonna be even fall even further down the wayside. Um, I do like the increased number of mons that require very low energy that are evolutions, and I also like the way that they haven't gone crazy with draw effects or energy acceleration or stuff like that. They're still very muted on those fronts. I don't like all the new statuses. I'm a little nervous about that, but the addition of Lumberry, there's hope. Um, overall, it looks like it's going to be a really fun expansion, and I'm really excited for it. Wow, 2 hours, 12 minutes. Kind of long video, huh? I hope I don't get in trouble for putting it out a day early. Go ahead, tell me your thoughts, cards you're really excited for, what your overall impressions are, and we'll have a nice little discussion in the comments.